and welcome to Week 9, Clay-Batelle's Week 9 of the pregame show here on WAJR.com. That theme can only mean one thing. It's Halloween! Don't worry, folks. We're recording this on Tuesday, but we will come out with it on Friday morning. I am your host, Ethan Collins, joined as always by my color commentator who doesn't miss games last week, Chance Collins. Chance, how are you doing today?
Doing well. I mean, still excited. Still got the adrenaline running from last Friday.
Wow. And fresh off his Clay-Batelle broadcasting debut, Mr. Jonathan Edwards. Jonathan, how was the chili dog?
Oh, it was great. Coach LePeau wasn't lying. I had a chili dog and chili cheese fries. When I said get the Tums on the broadcast, I don't know if I was talking about the game or what I had before kickoff.
So it's funny that you mentioned that, because as soon as you said that, when he said get your Tums, I was so nervous listening on that broadcast that I did experience a little bit of indigestion. Could have been the Smokin' Jay's barbecue, but
that is good barbecue.
It is good barbecue.
Love Smokin' Jay's.
Brisket.
Not a sponsor.
Buffalo chicken dip.
I can tell you I had two dogs at the field too. I know we can't mention other places on the radio. I'm just going to say, though, that I preferred the other place.
Okay. You prefer the other place in Blacksville.
Yes.
That's what you're saying. Okay. That's fair.
But they're both very good dogs.
Boy, guys, what a freaking game that we had last week. I'm jealous that I didn't get to call it, but at the same time, I am so extraordinarily happy for you guys to be able to experience that game, number one. Number two, that we won. Get that out there, okay? And number three, I'll tell you what, I looked at pictures, I heard the background noise. It sounded like that crowd was awesome.
Oh, it was.
The crowd was awesome. I interrupted there, Jonathan. I apologize. The crowd was awesome on both sides. I want to give credit to the Sherman crowd base, too, because they traveled really, really well.
Did you ever find out how they got here? Like, did they leave on Friday the night before, or
they stayed at Waynesburg the night before and then traveled over?
They stayed all the way over in Waynesburg. Oh, my goodness.
They said, the guys were saying that actually would have been like a shorter or easier trip, is what our coaches were saying, coming from Waynesburg than it would have been if they stayed in Morgantown. Because you come in that Mount Morris way, it's a little bit more of a straight line.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, and they talked about that. They said, it was probably cheaper, especially on homecoming weekend, and that was one of the things we talked about in the pregame show last week, is the logistics. I'm sure it was probably cheaper to not stay in Morgantown on homecoming weekend, because I was at the WVU game right after. 55,000, despite being 2-5 going into that game. Not a shocker that it was probably easier to get one out of town.
Really upset that I stayed for that whole game.
It was great, though. I thought it was a really good game. I was shocked they stayed within 30.
But I'm spoiler alert, folks, I'm recovering from kind of an illness. You know, I was pretty much sick all last week. And let me tell you what doesn't help when you're sick. It's going to a darn football game at night. And then you come back home to a house that has no heat. Don't worry, guys, it's fixed.
Thanks to a very smart father.
Yeah. Hey, to be fair, Peter Collins said that I troubleshooted that furnace extremely well, and I never would have found out what was wrong with it even if I had an expert come in.
I'm going to be honest. If your father or my father gives you credit for something, you take that with
mechanical help.
Yes,
yeah.
You take that with pride. You're both very smart individuals, and just not saying that because they're our fathers, but just to put it out there, they both would have been accepted into the Naval Academy if they would have chosen to go.
Getting off topic here a little bit, but Jonathan, so essentially what was happening is my furnace was turning on, the motor was turning on, but it wasn't functioning, and then it was blinking an error code that says that the pressure valve was off. My dad goes, "No, it's not the pressure valve." He goes, "Your motor's trying to turn on, but it's not turning on." And this is what he does. Turns it on again. It starts turning on. He said, "You need to put some WD-40 on this motor right here." I'm sure the people of Blacksville will get a kick out of that one. Everything can be two things in life that can solve everything: WD-40 and duct tape. If something's moving that shouldn't be moving, put duct tape on it. If something isn't moving that should be moving, you put WD-40 on it.
Yeah, they say death and taxes, but they forget to leave out the duct tape and the WD-40. Those are also guarantees.
Yeah.
The lady that I stopped on the road to try to help on the way home may say that duct tape may not fix her SUV that she hit a deer with. It's funny, on the way out of Blacksville, stopped behind a vehicle, Coach's wife, LePo's wife, getting out, helping this lady kick debris off, doing the traffic. We're getting the debris off, looking at it, radiator fluid coming out. It wasn't good. She's like, can I drive it home with this? I said, when it hits red, stop. I said, see you, because she said she wasn't that far away. But just an interesting story tidbit on the way home.
All right. So let's get back to this game a little bit, guys. We'll talk about it here. So I guess we'll just start setting it up here. Let me get the audio get ready to go here. Let me pull it up. Yeah. So anyways, okay. So the game started off kind of slow. I mean, both teams on their first possessions on offense didn't really do anything. Second drive, though, of the game for the Seabees, Santa Fe picks up right where he left off last week.
Cohen looking deep. He's going to turn around. It's going to be a bang-bang play. Oh, and he mossed him! He mossed him! He's all the way to the house. There's Santa Fe, Cody Clovis. Oh, my gosh, he mossed him right over the defender's head. That could be a SportsCenter top 10 play right there. Touchdown, Seabees. They take the 6-0 lead with 3:02 to go in the opening quarter.
I just want to say that was the perfect start. I know it was a slow start for both teams, but that play was the first play where I felt like this is a playoff game right here. And Trey Lester, if you're listening, I'm sorry we picked on you, and we'll get to him later, but he did get mossed. I mean, it was right over Clovis jumped over him and with the fingertips basically ripped it in front of his face mask and pulled it over and turned around and ran to the house. That could have easily been a pick six.
So here's the weird part about that play. I watched it both on Huddle and Taryn Malone's Metro News highlights. On Huddle, it looks like a normal catch. It looks like he just catches it, brings it down, and he runs all the way to the house. Then you watch Taryn Malone's highlights. You're right. He goes right over his face. It was coming. I think maybe even Lester tipped it. He grabs it, basically just yanks it back from him, and then pulls it together, and still has the balance to keep his feet and then dash to the house.
And it was extremely impressive. And I'm telling you now, like, I know that radio, you have to be a bit more descriptive. And the first thing I thought of, we were talking about Randy Moss in the pregame. Well, not even in the pregame.
That is funny. We did talk about Randy Moss.
Well,
we did.
Pregame. We did. And then we talked about it before we went on air, like just talking in the booth. And the first thing that came to my mind, now I'm a Marshall grad, so this is also biased, but the first thing I saw, I heard, "You got mossed." And that's what I heard in my head when he pulled it down. And it was a fantastic start for the CBs.
Should have said that. I would have been fine with it.
If you watch that highlight too, if Clovis doesn't come down and transition to running as quick as he does, if he hesitates at all, he's tackled. Because they had their best two defenders over there on him. You had Trey Lester, who missed going for the interception and misjudged the ball that he mossed over top of. And then they had number 5, which I think is Pauly, their quarterback. Yep. Their two best players were on him, and he found a way to get around. Pauly may be right there with Lester as far as quickness goes, and he was able to get around him and still, show that 4.52 speed off and get to the end zone.
All right. Well, guys, we fast forward all the way to the fourth quarter because there's not a lot that happened other than turnovers in between those two parts right there.
Yeah, I did want to say, though, I didn't include the 2-point conversion from this play because, I'll be honest, not my best call of the day, but it just happened. The 2-point conversion just happened to go up 8-0. It was kind of I wouldn't say lackluster play, but there was nothing really. I was like, wow, it just happened. So, but it made all the difference in the world.
It's got to be a little bit of a letdown no matter what. Like, he could have been a corner pass that was caught, but when you just watched a 57-yard Moss catch, it's going to be hard to catch that same excitement off a 2-point conversion unless you're going for the win of the ball game.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I say, huge gap in there. We had turnovers. We had halftime. Defensive stands, pretty much penalties, anything but offense. Trey Lester, the Tide star, had been held in check all day, but he finally gets an opportunity to make an impact, and Chance interrupts Jonathan for the first time.
8:37 to go and counting. Sherman has it 4th and 7. Make or break here. Paulie's scrambling. He's got a runner after him. And he heaves it to the end zone, and Lester brings it down for the touchdown. There he is. Finally, he has been shut down all day long. And the X factor for the Sherman Tide steps up tall, and it's 8-6 with 8:24 to go.
I did interrupt. There's no doubt about that. I seen him.
You totally forgot about that one, didn't you?
I did. I did. You
too.
were talking about before. I did not remember interrupting that well. I think it was one of those frustration. We had kept him in check most of the game. Most of that credit goes to Paulie more than it goes to Lester on that play. Paulie created time and allowed them.
He had pressure all day.
Yep, allowed Lester to kind of get open because it was just dragging across the field. I wanted to bring up something, though, as you emailed this to me today. I went back and I watched the game, and I got to a play, I think it's like 89, and I watched Caleb Hall break like a 63-yard run that gets called back for a holding. And I would still like the ref to show me where holding was on that play. Maybe even been a legal block in the back. I watched that play over and over.
I think it was a block in the back. I remember what you're talking about, and it was a block in the back.
If it was a block in the back, there is 2 pancake blocks on that. And Zach Gump annihilates their defensive end. Like, he just picks them up, takes them out to lunch. Like, it is one of the best blocks you will see. Then you will go from there to Cooper Payton is the one I think gets the penalty called on him because he had like 3 or 4 all day long. They loved picking on him. But it's just a pancake block too. Caleb Hall should have scored. And the reason I bring that up is this play would have never happened if it wasn't for that, because after that play is when Corey goes to throw a screen and one of their defensive linemen picks it off. And immediately after, there was no doubt there was wind knocked out of the sails of the CBs at that time. And credit to Sherman, they didn't give the CB's defense, which had played phenomenal all game long, a chance to catch their breath before they hit this bomb, getting it to Lester. And you got to see the talent Lester had because he got open and he definitely made the catch above everybody else down there.
Yeah, and it was a pretty spectacular play. And I went into this game, and I talked about it before we went on air here. I went into this game, I was like, listen, it's been drilled into my brain to be neutral this whole time. I know it's a CB's broadcast, but I'm going to be the neutral voice. And let me tell you, I want to give flowers to the CB folks. You're raising some good men out there, because Braden Ponserov and the likes, all of them came up, shook my hand, and talked to me. Coach LePeau was a class act. Everyone, and just through the game to see their fight, really made a fan out of me, and I can see why you guys are so passionate about it. But again, I was like, I'm going to hype up Sherman's touchdown, and they hit it, and it felt like a bag of bricks hit me in the face. And I was like, wow, I don't want this. I don't want Clay-Batelle to lose now. So
it really hit you. I mean, the community of Blacksville really hit you. I'm glad that you highlighted that, though, Jonathan.
Because I feel so bad, because I was like, I'm going to hype up the Sherman touchdown. And then I was like, oh no.
Well, when I play this next highlight, you're really going to say, oh no.
Oh, I know.
So after this one, another turnover happens, forcing their 5th takeaway. And they finally get an opportunity to take the lead here with an easy score.
And they wind the clock all the way down. High snap, handoff, and he walks in. That's a touchdown for Sherman, number 40, Dawson Green, who has come alive in this second half. Makes it 12-8 in favor of Sherman with 1:28 to go. Got to think they'll be going for 2.
The all-important 2-point conversion, even though Sherman does have a kicker, the CBs force them to do the 2-point try to make it a 6-point ball game.
Bruiser back Green next to him, who scored the touchdown. Paulie ready for the snap. Same formation. Fakes the handoff. And he's got his man. Is he going to get there? And he got there. That's going to be in.
No, that's the right call.
That is the right call. He reached out, and that 2-point conversion is successful. 14-8 your score now.
I'll start with this one, and I just beat myself up over it more than the play before. I could not tell who scored there, and I don't remember. Did we say after the play who made, like, if that was a keeper for Pauly or? Well, you watched the game. You watched the game back. Do you remember who scored that 2-point?
I'm wanting to say it was 27. Don't hold me to that. Went around the end.
That's right.
I can't think of his name,
That's right. And I was so caught up in the fact that this was now a different type of ball game, I just completely omitted who scored it because I don't know. One of my lowlights. But anyways.
I was going to say also, the reason you hear me say that was the right call, which you did hear some CB fans groaning. There's no doubt, they're going up at this point in time. But there was a couple like, nah, he was out. He was in. It was the correct call by the refs. And, I mean, we've had the discussions about the referees off air and so on. And it was one of those, it was mixed, but that was definitely the right call. As you go down through these highlights, and I know we still got a couple more to go, there's one that is omitted that I almost brought up a second ago. Biggest play of the game maybe is after the Leicester touchdown. They had a chance for a letdown. And they didn't do it. They stopped the 2-point conversion, which would have tied the game at that time. And, the most we would have been able to do at the end of the game would have been tie it and not win it. So that's something to think about, the defense getting that second win long enough to make it an 8-6 ball game.
Well, the 2-point conversions are tricky. As a broadcaster, I know we're kind of getting into like a notes and stuff as broadcasters. 2-point conversions are tricky because you look back on them and you go, oh, that was such an important part of the game. But when you're in the moment of them, they don't feel really that important.
Yeah, you're coming right off a giant touchdown play, and regardless, the momentum shift was there, and this just felt like an extra kick of like, oh, well, now they have it. So I just wanted to point that out there. I'll stop ranting about my own.
There was a lot, too, me and you were discussing in the booth at that time. Don't know if it was on air or not or on commercial. We actually thought, I did, that even though they were only 6 inches from scoring, that they were going to knee the ball right there,
we talked
make
about
us
that.
use our timeouts,
and then kick the field goal.
And kick the field goal. We were watching their field goal kicker, extra point kicker, whatever you want to call him, in pregame, and he was really, really good. And, at this point in time, maybe Sherman's coach rethinks that. We understand it's single-way football. You get blocked. You get all kinds of other things that can happen. But he may have been rethinking himself on the point of, boy, maybe I just take a knee and allow my guy to kick the ball. Because he don't have a line drive kick, which is, when blocks come into play, actually has a little bit of a looper kick, which may have worked out for them in the end because then they would have ran the clock down, went up 9-8.
Any other thoughts before we really change the tide?
Not really. Oh, man, this was so cool. That's all.
So, one more shot, one more drive. Corey Cohen has had nothing go his way. I believe 3 fumbles, 2 picks. Is that correct?
Or back and forth. Well,
three interceptions, 2 fumbles. And I can also tell you, before this play happens, we get one of our 12 penalties, which was a false start.
And you could hear, sorry, I probably wouldn't butt in, but you could hear in my voice when that penalty got called for the false start. It was like, they just lost the game. Yeah, I was like, that lost the game right there.
But someone's got to make a play, right? Call it a perfect pass, call it a perfect catch and run, call it a Marshawn Lattimore slips and lets Diggs go to the end zone. Corey Cohen and Santa Fe Cody Clovis make a play.
Regardless, it's 1st and 15 from the 25 now after setting themselves back. Cohen takes the snap with the receivers wide and an empty backfield. He's going downfield. He's got his man. And there he goes. He's off to the races. Oh, my gosh, could he go all the way? He does! Oh, touchdown! CB's! Touchdown! Yeah! What a touchdown. That is number 8, Santa Fe, Cody Clovis.
Santa Fe Clovis with a 75-yard touchdown play.
Holy cow. 75 yards.
You could hear the relief in Chance's voice exhale from his body when we scored that touchdown.
I hadn't breathed for 4 quarters. Like, I was so into that game. It was back and forth, and that may have been the first moment since the first touchdown earlier in the game that I had a chance to breathe.
But Chance, it was only tied. Why were you breathing?
Because we had overtime, and I felt we were the better team at that point in time. Like, I really felt we were okay. We just needed that play. And how often do you see a team with 1 minute and 28 seconds left on the clock make something happen? And I can remember talking to LePeau after the game and him talking about a different formation that they were running and stuff like that. I ain't going to go into details with it because it was kind of coach talk in the room. But, he gave credit to that play to another one of the assistant coaches as far as still having that play in the playbook towards the end of the day. And it was amazing to see them guys, in the coach's room afterwards talking about it. Amazing play. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Like, number 3 is who it was because I went back to find out who it was that done it, but he slips right by him. And then I'm looking at the numbers of the people chasing Clovis, hoping and praying I don't see number 9, because if I see number 9, they got a chance, because I knew if Lester was on the chase, they had a chance. When I didn't see 9, by about the 30, I'm like, in my head, I'm saying he's got it because Lester's not chasing him, and he was able to get there. Watching Santa Fe today beat his chest down there afterwards on the highlights and all that, all I could think about was me and you in Charleston last year, and they put that the Leonardo DiCaprio movie up with Matthew McConaughey where they're beating their chest like, and I'm like, that's all I could think about is he was beating his chest. It was definitely a relief. I did scream. I definitely brought my excitement.
Like
out
I say,
the
there's a time and a place. That was the time. That was the place.
Yeah,
Jonathan.
And again, you can get upset all you want about like calls. Again, not to go into broadcast speak, you can get upset about that all you want, but when it's a home team broadcast in a game as big as that, in a play as big as that, I'm not going to be mad at that. I mean, it was still an awesome call, and I've called a lot of games. I've never shown as much emotion on a broadcast as I did in the final 5 minutes of this game, because I don't know, it was captivating, and just seeing it, I threw the I need to. Part of me was like, I'm going to take this game to be like my magnum opus of high school commentary. And then that all went out the window. I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to win this game. And then the sinking thought of they scored too fast, because on one hand, Sherman scored, and I was like, well, that leaves some time for Clay-Batelle. Okay. And then Clay-Batelle 2 plays later scores, and I'm like, there's still a minute left.
They have a kicker.
And I was like, this is
you still need the 2-point conversion.
I said in the broadcast, I said, you can breathe now. I don't remember what the exact wording is. I was like, Clay-Batelle fans, you can breathe now, but there's still 109 or however long was left. I was like, Sherman's got a good quarterback and receiver. I hate to just go on and on, but the final 5 minutes of this game was just, well, really the final minute and a half was perfect. I mean, it was just, that was what you want in high school ball.
It could give somebody with some real anxiety issues
it was bad.
Trouble.
It was bad. I was hurting. I was going through it.
I was going to say, I can remember after that, I think when they started to line up for the kickoff, I made the comment that the cheers could turn to tears real quick if we didn't do it. But the thing I was thinking about is that you played that over again, is I actually remained quiet until he crossed the goal line. When the touchdown call went.
Because you kept looking for a flag?
No, that was actually Jonathan. He'll even say that himself as he was crossing. Yeah. He was looking for it. I wasn't. I should have been. I'll go ahead and admit to that. I was just so excited to see the play that happened, and I was more concentrating. While he's looking for the flag, I'm looking to see if number 9's on the back of one of the jerseys chasing him. And, lucky it was not Lester. Not that Clovis may have not beat him anyway, but I didn't have to worry.
All right. Guys, job's not done, though. Job not done. The all-important 2-point conversion play, tied at 14, under a minute, to not force overtime. What is it that Dana Holgerson said to Will Greer in Austin, Texas? You want to win the game? Go out and win the game. All right, Caleb Hall.
Monserov to his right, and here's the pitch to Hall. Hall's going to run. He's got one man to beat. Is he going to get there? He gets in! He's in! Caleb Hall finds the edge and gets past Trey Lester and company. And
you heard me say it's in like that exhale of hair out, when that happened. That was funny.
Yeah, I was worried when they decided to go for 2 in this situation. I know they rely on 2-point more than kicking, and it's probably maybe the safer option with the Seabees, but I had the most sinking feeling.
Oh, God, what could happen
I was
here?
like, take the kick. And I get it. You have more faith in your offense than you do the kicking game, and rightfully so. But in a game like that, I was like, I just don't trust
Ponceroff
it.
is your extra point kicker, and you probably would have liked to have that in the hands of a senior, maybe other than a sophomore and a junior quarterback. But nevertheless, it worked out for you. But, guys, the hard part's done. But the win's not complete, though. The defense made plays all night. You need one more stop. They have a kicker. You can't just keep them out of the end zone here. But does any of that matter when you guys have Josh Wilson? Mr. Plug-and-Play himself. He steps up when you need him the most.
10 at the 41-yard line. Pauly looking. And he's got pressure. And it's intercepted! It's intercepted! That's the dagger! Put in the coffin nails at the 30-yard line! Oh!
Plug and play, Josh Wilson hit Pauly. The ball comes out forward, but Cameron Mercer's there to catch it before it hits the ground. First down Seabees with 46.2 seconds left to go here in the fourth quarter. I'm going first quarter. I don't know if my heart could take 3 more quarters of this.
Oh my gosh, and Sherman can only stop the clock one more time. All you got to do is take a knee.
You could hear the exhale go out of Jonathan that time as the interception comes in. You heard the loud, audible, whoo. We made a fan out of you yet.
Yeah, this might be my favorite call I've ever given on a play. I know the player description wasn't there, whatever. Throw that out the window. Getting to use
it's a great call, Jonathan. Don't hurt yourself. That's a great call.
I knew it. That was the first time in that 3-hour Sun broadcast where I felt that was right. And I don't know. I grew up listening to Bengals games, hearing the coffin nails, and I'm not trying to. I hate taking from other people, but that was just such a moment, and it was awesome to see. And that interception was set up so well. I mean, he was just right there. You name him plug and play, he was standing right there waiting for it, and it was just right in front of the line. And that was the break they finally needed. As good as the defense played all day long, they just needed that final signature moment, and they got it.
I spoke to Josh after the game, and I told him all season long, he's that guy that makes the play, but he don't get credit for it because he sets that end all the time. And it's Statler, and it's Mercer, and it's Cooper Payton. They get the credit for the tackle. They get the credit for the hit. But it all happens because Josh Wilson sets the end and turns the person forward. Well, this time he's setting the end, but the quarterback decides to go left instead of up. And when he goes left to behind, Wilson just takes the offensive lineman, shrugs him off, hits his arm. You couldn't have asked for a more perfect defensive play of hand usage from a defensive end, Mercer to get it. But just to sit there and watch a kid that is willing to play and not have to have the tackle or the stats. I mean, I'll bring my Steelers into it right now. There's a lot of people talking about our defense, how horrible it's playing. And when you listen to the players talk on the radio, it's all about the players being selfish because they all want to make a play because the defensive tackle ain't setting the end or it ain't sitting here. And Josh Wilson's one of them guys all season long that has been willing to not be the superstar, just be the guy that helps other guys make a play, and to see him be able to be a big part of it. Once again, everybody's going to think of Mercer making the interception, but that interception never happens if Josh Wilson doesn't do what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, and I again, another thing I want to point out, and to Coach LePeau and the CB's credit, team ball will get you places, and this isn't a knock on Sherman necessarily, but we saw the animation from the Sherman sideline and on the field, and that's okay. There's times for it, and it went for them and against them, but Clay-Batelle remained cool and collected all game long, and to see them finally get to celebrate something like that. Again, team ball will take you deep into the playoffs if you do it right. And Clay-Batelle on that play alone showed why they're such a threat in Class A. It's selfless football, and that's what you need.
I'll tell you one thing. That dog pile after that interception, I'd like to know if somebody's got a picture of that, because that dog pile with Cooper Payton and Cooper Statler and Cameron Mercer just sitting there. By the way, guys, he had an interception you guys said earlier that went right through his hands and dropped it. And Chance said, that's why he's a big ugly on the offensive line.
Jonathan said that.
Oh, Jonathan said that.
I said it. That's why he's not playing receiver, I think. And he's like, yeah, he's the big ugly's up there.
Yeah, the big ugly's up there. Well, the big ugly came in because I don't know if you necessarily call that a fumble or a forward pass. You probably call it a forward pass.
Yeah, his hand was going forward.
And you just say incomplete, and you say third down here.
Yep.
Cameron Mercer, and it's easy for a defensive lineman to just watch it and go, yay, sack. No, he goes and he dives and he makes that play and he seals it.
Yes, you get that seal. We're talking about animation. We were talking about the game with Sherman and all that. And it's funny because I was rewatching the film, and I brought up the Caleb Hall run that got called back. And you talk about animation. I look down, and there's Coach Butch sitting down there on that sideline. He's got his hands clasped. And you see the flag come out, and you just see his hands go apart down to his side. And you can see from behind the look of, yeah, seen that coming. It was just complete dejection at that time that play got called back, but it just like it wasn't a shot. But the difference was from the CB side to the other side is they'll throw their headsets, be awful animated, which like you said.
We saw that.
So sometimes it fires the fan base, your team up, your fan base up, and it gets things going, but it can also work against you because it can get you a stupid penalty at times by doing that.
Yeah, and we saw that because toward the end of the game when Sherman caught the momentum, you saw them start to get riled up, and they were, all hoorah on it. And the thing is like that was working for them at the time, and at points in the game it did, and there were times where it didn't. And then seeing them quiet after the end of the game was it was just an interesting sight.
I was going to say, going back, Cody Clovis' 75-yard touchdown, I watched it several times, and probably 3 to 4 of them times I didn't even watch Cody, or is that right? Yeah, Cody. Didn't watch him run the ball. I watched Sherman's sideline and enjoyed the animation I seen by the players on the sideline because it was this frustration they didn't throw the helmet, but they were shaking the helmet in just frustration that play had just happened. And it was enjoyable. I mean, I know you shouldn't celebrate on somebody else's angst like that.
That's what I'm going to say.
But at the same time, there was an enjoyment of that because I'd also, before watching that, had watched Taron Malone's film that when 40 walked into the end zone, he walks over and points at the camera. He thought it was over.
I remember seeing that clip, and I was like, I saw it up in the booth, and I was like, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't count your chickens before
and then Cody Clovis just
awesome.
He's in shock. I feel like he's in shock that he got there. He got in that position and then just wanted to go celebrate with his teammates. I guess we'll wrap things up here with final thoughts on that recap of the Sherman game, and I'll ask you guys a couple questions. Number one, Clay-Batelle outcoached those guys?
Yes.
Is that what won us the game?
Yes.
It helped. It really helped toward the end. And again, Sherman, they played a heck of a game, and they had some moments. It felt like a coaching chess match for a lot of this. And they really kept up, and it felt for a moment, I was like, LePau got outsmarted and toward the end. And then you see that final minute and a half, and I was like, he gets the last laugh here. And again, not a discredit to Sherman because they played one heck of a ball game, but so did Clay-Batelle.
Yeah, I don't want to, like I said, sometimes we meet the coaches afterwards and things are said. And, some of that I will repeat if I don't think it's anything major. But there was a comment, like I said, made in there, and that's when I say they outcoached them, is because LePau brought up something from one of the other coaches. I'm not good with their names. You may know it. It's the bald-headed, goatee defensive coordinator.
I know who you're talking about, yes.
He said, hey, he told me we outcoached them is what I'm going to say because of what they shared in there. I'm not going to share what was said because it may be needed again later in the playoffs type thing, but we outcoached them.
Last question here. Unfortunately, Jonathan, I don't know if you can answer this, but you can chime in if you feel like it. Chance, is that the worst game that CBs have played all year?
Man. I want to say statistically wise, yes. But I don't know if it was their worst game played because they just kept bouncing back. And that's hard to teach.
Yeah, I'll chime in here. Again, I don't know the team as well as you guys do, but I'm telling you now, a game like this, you could go out and shock everyone by beating Sherman by 40, but that's not going to help you. This game made you battle-tested, and you can have all the blowouts you want. I want a quality win like this for my team. When it comes to playoff time, you look back at this game, you have all the film in the world to be like, hey, here's everything. We won against a really solid team that is in the top 5 of the rankings, at least they were, and you found a way to make all these mistakes and still win. So I don't think it was their worst game played. If anything, I think it might be on the opposite end of the spectrum.
I was going to say, that's what you get. Like, you take Cameron week 1, it may have been a loss, but you got tons of film from it.
And you learn from it.
You learn from it. You don't learn, I ain't going to say anything. You don't learn very much by blowing out an 0-7 team by 56 points. You learn a lot by winning close games. You learn a lot by playing good competition. And you learn a lot from bouncing back from mistakes. Can't reiterate that enough. That next play mentality will win you a lot of games. It, as a coach and as a fan and as a broadcaster, you may make it rough on us, may have to hit the tums, as Jonathan would say, because we're up there getting sick watching 2 fumbles and 3 interceptions. But at the same time, to watch the team not give up and keep fighting, that's the heart of a champion.
Yeah, 6-1. You're going up against a team that was 6-1. You turn the ball over 5 times, and you know what you don't see? You don't see Corey Cohen hanging his head on the sidelines. He goes, he gets his water, and he turns back around. And that is the mentality you want, and that's, again, why I think that a win like this means more than a blowout.
All right, guys. Wrap it up. Any last words? I'll let you guys have it.
If this is the only Clay-Batelle game I call all year or whenever, I don't know what the future holds for me. It's going to have a special place in my heart. That was awesome.
Wow.
All right, let's get into the Oak Glen preview of this. And Chance, I'm sure if you looked on the roster, you said, that guy's name looks familiar. And there's one big name that looks familiar to you in a big position. Maddox Bowen of Weirton Madonna has now transferred from Weirton Madonna at the quarterback position, which program has folded. Can't blame him for that. To Oak Glen now. And the sophomore, yes, I said sophomore, that we're seeing for the second year in a row is commanding this good Oak Glen offense.
Yeah, when you look at him, he is an elusive quarterback. Still don't have – I mean, you can tell it's a sophomore arm. That's the one thing I'll say. I kind of feel like he has a little bit more air under his ball than you would hope for as a coach. Very elusive. You know, as far as a key of us against him, I really think that we need to keep him more towards the pocket. He seems to thrive off the point once he gets outside that pocket and can run and throw. If you're able to keep him in between the hash marks, he seems to struggle a little bit with the pressure. Like, he feels the pressure more inside the pocket. So that'll be interesting to see on Friday night how he goes about that. He is not a very big guy. He's just
he's only a sophomore.
But at the same time, we felt like Corey's been a little bit on the smaller side sometimes at quarterback, and he really hit the weight room and grew a little bit. But this guy here, I think I looked on Max Preps, 5'9", 140. I think is what they have him at.
That's a generous 140.
But he is highly elusive. It's one of them, get in there, make him have to throw from the pocket, get that air underneath the ball, and hope your defensive backs can make a play.
They do have good tailbacks, though, and I think their offense completely runs through their run game. Their tailbacks, Logan Murray, number 2, senior, he's a good combo of speed and power. I don't really feel like, Chance, we've faced a running back like him. Would you agree?
I definitely agree. We have not faced a tailback with his type of speed at all. Like, he's the type.
He runs like a AAA running back.
Yeah. If he gets to the corner and cuts it up, he may be gone. Yeah. It's one you got to use that sideline as a 12th man versus him.
But there's an interesting note here. I don't know if he's going to play tailback because last week he played only one half on one side of the ball on offense, and he was playing wide receiver. So that brings the question, is he hurt? Was there a disciplinary thing that went on there? It's only one game, but it was last week, so you don't really know. Was he limiting contact in last week so he could go full steam ahead this week? That's what it. To me, if I was in that position, if the guy's even a little bit hurt, you're fighting for your playoff lives. Maybe play him in an emergency capacity. The problem is that if he was only available in an emergency capacity, why was he there in the second half and why was he playing wide receiver?
It does. The question of him coming out in the second half brings up a big question. The other thing you asked,
because they led the entire game,
may have been easier for them to do was their tailback went for 275 yards last week. The true freshman did. So they were probably feeling pretty happy with him in the backfield and said, you know what, why don't you get some reps at receiver? I think the shoulder was banged up more than a disciplinary thing just because we've noticed some tape.
I've noticed like one of those shoulder brace wraps thing on his right shoulder because his left shoulder is
Let's emphasize that again for the players who are listening. On the right shoulder.
We're not advocating for any type of injury
No,
here,
but if there's a weak point, you take advantage of it. No, you're right. I'm not saying that. But if a person's got a weak spot, what I bring that up for is if you hold it in your right arm and you've got that brace on there, you're more apt to fumble. It is not.
That is a fair point.
Not about no injuries or anything like that. I don't want that. I want to
force turnovers.
I want to force turnovers. That's what I see. When I see a brace on an arm, it means the arm doesn't bend the way it normally does when healthy.
But yeah, I noticed a brace on his right shoulder. He has his undershirt on, and then he has a black brace that is on his right shoulder. Jacob Everett is that other tailback. He will play fullback if Logan Murray is at tailback. Really good blocker, really good ball carrier. Only a freshman, though. And he's a powerful runner, Chance. And you had an interesting thing about that, about powerful runners in us.
We match up versus powerful runners really good. Speed is our weakness. As far as I'm concerned, coming from the running back position, this is Cooper Statler sits at the dinner table and dreams of a tailback like this. This guy wants to hit and Cooper wants to hit, and they're going to hit each other. Interesting story at the end of the Sherman game, I come to find out, was Cooper asked me if you felt the hit on their tailback that he made there towards the end, and come to find out in the third quarter when he made that hit, a piece of paint, big piece of paint, chipped off the Sherman guy's helmet. And Cooper at the end of the game went down to the field and found the piece of paint to take home as a keepsake. And I believe these two, this guy wants to hit and Cooper wants to hit. This could be, for me, a match made in heaven come Friday night of just slobber knocker after slobber knocker at that line of scrimmage. I hope that's the matchup we get.
If you get the tailback of Logan Murray, you talked about maybe a defensive adjustment that you'd like to see.
I think seeing Cooper on the line more is probably the play. Get maybe Cooper Payton or Colt Sandy to play middle linebacker, somebody with a little bit more speed.
Maybe Trey Huggins if he's back healthy to plug that gap.
Yeah, you may want to do that. You may even want to bring Braden Poncer off of because that's one of your quicker guys, and I know that's completely adjusting your defense at that time. But, there's rumors out there that maybe Tyson Price can come back. And if he's able to come back, it gives you that opportunity to bring Poncer off up. Now, granted, he's not going to be 100% healthy, so he probably ain't going to be able to play every play. But, I've been impressed with Eli Cottrell. I think the type of team that we're playing, Cottrell may not be a bad guy you can throw in there at safety. It's one of them you can give them
in an obvious passing down situation. I like Eli Cottrell. Maybe not on a 3 downs at 3 yards in a cloud of dust, but if it's 3rd down and it's beyond the original line of scrimmage, I certainly think Cottrell, especially with the way that Maddox Bowen puts air under that ball. It is the perfect ball that the ball hawk loves to high point and catch.
Yes, and I think Braden would thrive on that, but I think you've got to stop the run with these guys first. And I'm pretty sure there's been times this year that we've put Cooper on the line. We haven't brought Poncer off to the middle linebacker. We've brought him up to an outside linebacker, and we've either moved Peyton or Sandy inside with a little bit more of the speed. We've done that, I think, a good bit against Cameron. If I remember correctly, we adjusted a little bit that way. I believe there was one other ball game that Cooper played a little bit more on the line. I can't recall which one it was. It's just one of them adjustments. I think if you go to the 2, you make that because you're almost hoping Statler can get to the backfield before they can get the play off, per se, get pressure on it, don't allow him to get that first step. They love to do this thing where they lean back and they flail their hands one direction, trying to fool the linebackers, and then they come back. You almost see them do it on every play that they run. It's like they're trying to throw, I guess, as you said, the linebackers off on what direction it's going. 2 scares me. 33 doesn't. I mean, I think he's a good tailback, but I think we match up a lot better versus him than we do 2. 2's going to give us – we're going to have to play a lot different. The outside linebackers are going to have to play containment, and the middle linebackers will have to plug the hole that will be there that he's going to drive up through if he turns it up. Because when you watch him on film, if that outside ain't there, he'll hit that hole quick. And if you ain't in that hole, he's 15, 20 yards deep before anybody even knows he's there. And it's scary to watch because he's very, very fast. Do I think we can match up with him? Yes. Because I think we got our outside linebackers between Sandy and Peyton have been pretty fun.
Peyton's kind of been the inside linebacker or middle linebacker ever since Trey Huggins went down. Josh Wilson's more your other outside linebacker. Actually,
he's more defensive end. Josh is
defensive end, and then there's Ponceroff, Snodgrass as well. You also got to think Tyler Sleeth is back. I know he's more of a secondary kind of guy, but that's a guy that you can bring into the secondary so Ponceroff can come in.
Yes.
But Sleeth is back as well. You talked about Eli Cottrell. I think Cody Clovis, Santa Fe, has really come around on defense at being a good, disciplined defender. We saw it on that pick against Riverview. He stood back, he stood tall, read the quarterback's eyes in the zone, and it was an easy pick. You weren't just thinking about the pick, you were thinking about the return after the pick. I think Cody Clovis, this secondary in general, we saw a pick from Trey Huggins last week. I think the secondary as a unit has really come around. It's not just Eli Cottrell, Braden Ponceroff, or Cooper Peyton batting it at the quarterback's hands and then catching it again and running it for 6. It's been a complete good defensive secondary unit, and it really shows. I mean, we'll get into the rankings here in a second, but points allowed, Chance, you're number 2, right? Number 2? Yeah, you're number 2. And the only reason is because Cameron pitched a shutout last week. They're at 97, and then you're over there at 104. You could have a realistic shot at being the number 1 defense in single A again because Cameron has a much tougher matchup against a high-powered offense in East Hardy this week. So, I mean, but that's the rankings. We'll get to that in a second. I want to come back to this scouting report. They have a very good O-line, and they have a particular O-lineman that scares you.
54.
I'm going to pull up him real quick.
He's a beast. Like I've said, on defensive side of the ball, our offensive linemen will have their hands full. He loves to hit the cracks, is what I'll say. He hits the seams. He wants to hit in between 2 guys because even if you try to sandwich him, he'll squeeze through. I think he could probably start on some quad A teams' defensive lines. He's a guy that you want to get a guy in front of and make him have to work to get to the quarterback. Like he's probably going to shove some of our guys backwards, but it's about slowing him down, because what I have liked, I've brought up to you on film that I feel is the weak spot of Oak Glen is their linebackers.
Yeah.
Their linebackers are not near as quick. I almost feel like their line is quicker than their linebackers. And I think if you can just sustain your block, keep in front of him, let him push you straight back, your tailback or quarterback are going to be by him. And I think all three of our guys are probably almost quicker than their linebackers. And if you're use their aggression against them. I think if we can get into that, I think screens could be key offensively this week, because their offensive line is like unleashing a dog that hadn't eaten a week at the butcher shop. Like, go after that quarterback every single play. Like, I really don't feel like they take a play off. 54 is
By the way, his
impressive.
name is Cameron Hebrock.
He is
6'3", 245, probably every bit of it.
Yes, if he ain't 260, it'll surprise me, is what I'll say. He is a fit defensive lineman. Like, you can tell, he's skinny and built, got huge legs on him, but he does scare me. It'll be one of the matchups, by all means, that I am watching come Friday night, especially early, to see how we control him. It may take two people, and everybody else is going to have to match up one-on-one, and our tailback or quarterback is going to have to beat that linebacking crew. I think we can beat that linebacking crew. I think we're more athletic. But if we can't control that defensive line, it could be a long night offensively, because they come crashing through so quick. It's scary.
Defensively, I have some notes here. I think this is the best pass defense I've seen on film. However, I don't feel like they've faced a passing attack that has wide receivers in such good form like we do. And what I mean, not just by, like, on paper we have good wide receivers. Ponceroff's due. He's due for a big game. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree, and especially, a lot of times you'll get in the habit of watching the most recent film.
Yeah.
If you're watching the most recent film, Santa Fe's the guy you're watching.
Yeah.
And the only reason, and take no offense if you're Santa Fe when I make this comment, the only reason Santa Fe is getting the plays that he's making
is because he's getting one-on-one matchups, because they're all keying on Ponceroff.
Because they're putting their best player on Ponceroff. One of the biggest maturity things I've seen is our guys just want to win.
Yeah.
Ponceroff doesn't worry about the stat sheet. I'm sure there's part of them that would love to have a couple more catches over the last couple weeks. But as long as we're getting the win, the boy's happy, and he's happy for his teammates that we're getting the win. Worry about the stats later. Maybe he'll get that game. And this may be that game, because I feel their cornerbacks are fast. They're not quick.
Yeah.
I feel like
they have decent ball skills, though. They have decent defending ball skills.
I feel like we may have discovered a play last Saturday that our coaches may want to look at just a little bit more often. All of our receivers, except for Huggins, are really, really quick and really, really fast. Huggins is okay.
I think he's got straight line speed.
But he's not the caliber that the other two are. But that comeback with Santa Fe last week was so wide open. They play so far back on our receivers. I think that little 15-yard hitch pattern may be there all night, because I don't think their cornerbacks can change the speed that our receivers have. And Corey's got the arm. That will come down to the point, can our offensive line give Corey a pocket to step up in? Because we've said all along that if you give Corey a pocket to step up in, his ball is really, really, really good. It's when he can't step up and get that extra step that sometimes you see a ball that hangs in the air a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see. I really like we've been throwing deep a lot. We've been throwing some jump balls. I do think that Ponceroff will not have a guy on him as good as he's had on him definitely last week, if maybe even not the Riverview game, because I thought Riverview had some really good cornerbacks too. This could be his breakout game, because especially if they start to key on Santa Fe a little bit more, we've got to set up the run to get there. It'll be interesting to see. I brought up earlier, I think that I feel like a running quarterback was their biggest weakness I've seen on film. Like, they seem to key on the tailbacks and everything else a little bit better.
Give me just 1 second here.
Okay,
I'm getting there.
I'll back up. Okay.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is that I don't think, even if you put their best corner on our worst receiver one-on-one, I'm not. I still think it's a 50-50 ball, and maybe the big word there is trust. I trust our receivers to come down and make that catch. I say Ponceroff is due for a big game. Trey Huggins had a monster game against Valley Wetzel, and I'm telling you what, you put your worst corner on him, he's going to pay. He's going to make that guy pay. Like, if you put him on an island, okay, and you put two receivers out to whatever opposite side, and you say, hey, that's their worst corner. That's their worst corner. And you say you get that 15-yard comeback route or hitch route, and you, like, roll out to the strong side where there's two wide receivers, and you cut, and then you stop, you look back, and you see that he's wide open, throw it to the man. He makes good yard. He gets great yak yards. I think, personally, in the passing game, that this could be anybody's night. I'm just saying it's been a while since we heard about Ponceroff. I think he's due. He's one of those players where you just sit there and go, you know, we talk about this all the time, especially at the college level and the pro level. Players make plays. You do what you do to get your playmakers involved. He is a playmaker. It just hasn't felt like he's gotten the opportunity to make a play. It's been great, though, because we've sat there and said, oh, Cody Clovis makes a play. Oh, Corey Cohen makes a play. Oh, Caleb Hall makes a play. This is great because you're firing on all cylinders on offense. I get it. You kind of had a bad game, but in terms, if you take away the turnovers, you're probably winning that Sherman game by 28, 30, something like that. But that brings back to my other point is that you say that the linebackers are a weak point. Once you get to that second level, do you sit there and say this zone read scheme that we saw a lot against Riverview, and I look at Riverview as kind of the point of emphasis because you see a lot of similarities between Riverview and Oak Glen, but the thing is that there's number one, number two's better than anybody that was on Riverview. Okay, they both have young quarterbacks. They both have really good O-lines. I think Oak Glen has a better O-line.
It's more athletic.
Definitely more athletic, probably more powerful, and I don't know about conditioned. I'd say
that was the thing on Tyler County I brought up to you. They lost to Tyler County because they wore out. Tyler County kept hitting them, and they ended up wearing out by the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. Two thoughts. I don't even know if I've mentioned this to you yet, but this could be a big Colt Sandy game because I think the tight end drag across, I know he's faster than any linebacker that's out there if we can just get Corey the time. The other thing when I say Ponceroff being involved in the game, and this may be his game, is I believe the quick end around, if you can catch him, their defensive line wants to collapse inside. If you can get Ponceroff the ball and out on an end around, or even Clovis, but I think this is Ponce's night. I think if we get him on that end around, I think it's going to be there. I don't think they have guys that juke as quick as he has. They've got, as you said, straight line speed, but I really think you can kill them all night long with that. If you can mix it up, if you're able to run well enough early to make them have to worry about that when you do the sweep around, it's going to be a struggle for them.
So which runner would you say is more important for this game? And I've put down some guys here. Do you think it's the running backs in Caleb Squared, Caleb Hall, or Caleb Snodgrass? Or do you think it's Corey Cohen? Or do you think Braden Ponceroff? Or could you see a Tavon Austin versus Oklahoma and put Cody Clovis back there on the running back position, hand it off, let him work?
Yeah, that would be interesting to see. I would actually like to see that at some point in time.
Maybe myself. Not this year.
Yeah, but I mean his speed is phenomenal. Like I think he could race. If he got to the outside, the linebackers weren't making it there with him, is what I'll tell you. I'll go with this. I know I mentioned earlier to you, I think in order for us to win this game, Corey Cohen's got to play the best game of the year this year.
Maybe not just stat-wise?
It's not about stats. To me, it's just about ball control. Don't make the turnover, but just control the offense. Like, I think their weak point, like I said, is linebackers. They've had trouble with mobile quarterbacks. I think Corey's going to get a chance to run over some people. Just needs to be secure with it. A 15-yard run for a first down is better than 25 yards and a fumble. It's about understanding. I don't think this team, and I hope I'm proven wrong Friday night if it's possible, I don't know if we're going to hit the big play on them. And we've lived with the big play a lot this year.
Especially in the past couple weeks.
Yeah, this may be the week that you're going to have to do
sustained drives.
The dirty 8, 12-play drives, get down the field. Like, you're going to hit them for 5 and 6. They're going to hit you for a play that you get none to 2. But you just got to sustain that drive and keep it going. Penalties will be huge. We had problems with that last week. We definitely need to, not pre-snap penalties. You almost can't
get behind the sticks. You just can't have it.
No, because that's the sustained drive thing. And if you watch some of their games, that's kind of how their games went a little bit. Was it went back and it went forth and it went back and forth. They would drive, but they would stall out. The other team would drive and stall out. And then Oak Glen started sustaining their drives over time. Like, wore people down. I do believe they did that a little bit. But what they try to do, by all means, is run enough that then all of a sudden they allow that little gnat quarterback they've got to go back here and run around for 15 seconds.
Wear you out, and then we're just going to, hey, we're going to run Logan Murray down your throat.
Yep.
Or, hey, we're going to run Jacob Everett down your throat, and he's going to break 2 tackles and get 7.
I mean, he lobbed one ball that scored, I think, the last game I watched, that team in Ohio they were playing, that he ran around back there, probably went back and forth 3 to 4 times. By the time he threw the ball, the wide receiver was standing without a guy within 15 yards of him. And he's able to do that. But he's able to do that because they set it up with the run game. If you take the run game away, you're going to be able to key more on keeping him in the pocket. He does not throw near as well from the pocket. He's not near as accurate is what I will say if there's any kind of pressure on him, and he's a lot more jittery in that pocket than he is out of it.
All right. Anything else you want to add about Oak Glen?
I won't add it about Oak Glen. I'll add it about us after last week, and we're kind of on this Halloween theme. LePeau talks about being the toughest team out there every week. And I'm a huge Halloween fan, and as far as
do you want to be
concerned,
Mike Myers or do you want to be Freddy Krueger?
I mean, to me, we need to go out there Friday night, be Michael Myers, because you can't kill the boogeyman. You can't kill him. Keep hitting them, keep hitting them, keep hitting them. Sooner or later, they're going to give up. If the boys go out there and do that and try to reach to become better than they've been so far this season, I really feel like we're going to come out with a win. We're then going to turn around and take Magnolia, and you're going to be looking at hosting 2 home playoff games. And that would be huge for the school. It'd be huge for the community. It'd be huge for this team.
It'd be huge for this county.
To
have 3 teams hosting a playoff game on the first round of the playoffs. I don't know. I'm actually genuinely curious. I wonder if that's honestly ever happened. I'm sure it has, but it certainly hasn't happened in a long time.
Well, here's one for you that I don't know right off the bat. When did University become a high school? I know they built that new school. I just don't know if it was a long time before
I think it
that.
was the 80s or something like that.
If it was that, because I know LePeau was late 90s that they made it to the semis, I think, with him. And I'm just assuming that would have maybe been one if University was around at that time.
You ready to get into rankings talk?
Let's talk rankings.
All right. 1 through 8 who host the playoff game goes like this. Wheeling Central Catholic at 1, Wahama at 2, Clay-Batelle at 3, Tug Valley at 4, but both of them are tied. However, Clay-Batelle having the better record at 7-1 wins this week. Pendleton County at 5, Sherman 6, Cameron 7, East Hardy 8. So you have 7 versus 8 this week. Foreshadowing. We'll get to that in segment 3. First team to go on the road, first round of the playoffs. Meadowbridge, number 10, St. Mary's, number 11, Tucker County, number 12, Wirt, number 13, Greenbrier West, number 14, Ritchie County, number 15, Gilmer County, and number 16, Montcalm. The outside looking in is Man, Webster, and Tulsa. I think we could probably throw out Calhoun, Pocahontas County, Tigers Valley, Magnolia, and Richwood. Oh, Mount View and Valley. I think we can throw those teams out. I think Tulsa, Webster, and Man are the three teams on the outside looking in that we can safely say
fighting to get in.
So, I need to mention this. I don't really want to go too badly on a Wheeling Central rant, but I do need to address it. Wheeling Central has number 1 on lock. Number 1 seed, done, dusted, done. Can't get past them, can't get over them. It's over with. Okay.
Top of that, they don't even play another game.
Well, that's why they don't play.
That's why it's a lock. They don't play another.
That's why it's a lock. They don't play anybody, and no matter what, Wahama cannot overpower them. Okay. Now, Clay-Batelle at number 3 and number 4 against Tug Valley. Now, I understand that 3 sounds a lot better than 4, especially with Wheeling Central at 1. I get it. But no matter where you go, 3 or 4, you're still hosting 2 playoff games. Okay? So that needs to be the goal this week. Because if you don't win this week, regardless of what you do to Magnolia next week, if you do not win this week, you are not hosting 2 playoff games. You are looking at the 5 or the 6 position, okay? Which means that you have to go on the road in the Thanksgiving week. I can't really remember. I don't know how that calendar really shakes out, but you get my point. And you'd have to go on the road to somebody like Tug Valley, like Pendleton County, like Wahama. So, what do, Chance? You take care of business. You put together the opponent of what's in front of you. You have the chance to make, I don't know if it's necessarily history, but you have the chance to become really good or great. Because I think if you can solidify yourself as a top 4 team in single A, whether it's 3, whether it's 4, you are a great single A school.
A great single A school with a great facility.
Yeah.
And this is an opportunity with LePeau in his second year to grow this program where you get people with the transfer portal, the way it is even in high school sports, to look at Clay-Batelle as a place maybe I want to go play, which would help this program out in the future. To me, though, I've told you all along that if I got to go on the road in the semis, I want Wahama. They're a running team. I feel like we match up really, really well with them. Win this, you get that chance. Like you're not going to pass Wahama. Wahama is not going to lose a game the rest of the year. And I only say that because I feel like they don't play like even a competitive team. So they're going to be 10-0. You've already said Wheeling Central's got 1 locked up. Your best play right now, run the table, get it 3, host 2 games.
Or 4. It doesn't matter if you get 3 or 4. To tell you the truth, and I'm just going to throw this out there, Chance. When I look at, I've watched Wheeling Central play twice. I've only seen Wahama play once. Okay. Based off those 3 games that I have watched, me personally, I think I'd rather play Wheeling Central. Only because I think you can outsmart them and outdiscipline them. If things do not go Wheeling Central's way, I've seen it happen. They crumble. The problem is that they do not get in those situations very often. Good. Credit to them. They're a very talented team. Wahama, on the other hand, they're disciplined, they're well coached, they're senior-led. I don't care if they're one-dimensional. I think they're just flat out better than Wheeling Central. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
Well, there's one thing we haven't taken into equation yet that with Wheeling Central Catholic, they have all these titles.
Yeah.
But they all come on an island that they didn't have to travel. They will have to travel if they make it to Charleston. And that's why I kind of want Wahama before, because I'm thinking beat Wahama, your shot at Central Catholic is not on their home field. It's on Charleston's field.
Well, Wheeling Island isn't their home field either.
No, but I'm saying you're getting them out of their county. You're making them get on a bus and travel just like that. They didn't have to travel for any of them state titles on Wheeling Island. They all got in their cars, and they drove there in their Ohio license plate vehicle.
Pennsylvania license plate.
And they parked at the casino, and they went in, they played, and they come back out with their blonde hair that they always have.
And their new uniforms, and sometimes a new offense that their brother installed on the week before.
Yep. Like, they're that good. But if you make them travel, maybe that's where you at least get them off kilter. You said they get rattled, and and that's it. In order to rattle them, you also get them out of their home cage, and you get them there. I just believe we match up really, really good against running teams, and that's where my thing is with Wahama. I mean, it's not going to be an easy victory either way. Both of them I do believe we can beat, but in order to get there, I feel like we have to win Friday night.
On their best game, and I still think it's yet to come. Believe it or not, I'm closely getting to the. If I know these boys as well as I think I know them. You know what? I didn't even put a disclaimer to say players tune out. Don't listen, because you know what? Fine, tune in. If you want to tune in, that's fine. Because what I have to say next is important. If I know these guys like I think I know them, this game on Friday, on Halloween, where all the kids come in their costumes and it's trunk or treating in the parking lot and all this other stuff, I don't think these kids are satisfied with beating Sherman on a Saturday afternoon in a nail-biting victory. I don't think they're satisfied with even beating Oak Glen on Halloween night and solidifying yourself as a top 4 single A school. I think this team has the mentality that has been bred and born to make history in Clay-Batelle football, to establish an identity in Clay-Batelle football. Aaron LePeau has come in and taken the wise words and wisdom of Ryan Wilson, who built what is the culture in Blacksville and CB football and made it what it is today, and LePeau has brought in a youthful joy of the game to it. Not to say Ryan Wilson didn't make it fun, but it's a fact of the matter. You like playing for the younger guy. You like playing for the innovative guy. And I'm telling you what, he has the mentality. He was brought up, he was raised to bring Clay-Batelle to new heights that this team has not done before. This school, this community has not seen before. And if I know these guys, if I know Cooper Statler, and I know Braden Ponceroff, and I know Caleb Hall, and I know Corey Cohen, and I know all of these seniors and juniors, sophomores and freshmen that have been working their asses off.
Cameron Mercer, Josh Wilson, Trey Huggins.
Yeah.
Huggy
that have been
Bear.
working their asses off since December of 2024 to get to Charleston in 2025. However, you've got to start it on Halloween night at Oak Glen and establish yourself. I don't care what Oak Glen is in classification-wise. They're a good team. They'll test you. But you have got to finish the job. The job is not finished. And the job ain't finished on November 1st either. It finishes on, let me see here.
The first weekend of December.
The first weekend of December. I was gonna pull up the date.
Well, I'm gonna feed off your satisfied thing, and I'm gonna
December 6th.
Feed off the Halloween thing. You know, we can go into tomorrow night and we can play like somebody who hadn't had a Snickers bar for a while. Or we can play like the person that eats the Snickers bar and turns into who they're supposed to be and not be Betty White. You know what I mean? Like, this is where you find out what you're satisfied with when you come in and you play this game. You brought up the point of all these seniors playing. I can remember.
They haven't just worked 4 years for this. They've worked hang on. They've worked 14 years for this.
Hey, I'll word it this way coming into Friday night. For those of you who are seniors on this team, remember what Maverick Gum looked like last year at Magnolia. Remember what Landon Savage looked like last year. Remember those guys' heartache when the game at Magnolia slipped away. Remember how you felt that Friday night when you watched your getting into the playoffs hopes slip away. Were you satisfied with that feeling? Because if you weren't satisfied with that feeling that night for them, for all you juniors out there, all you sophomore people, all the freshmen that are playing on this team, don't let this senior class feel what that senior class felt. And the way to do that is to go out and win the game Friday night versus Oak Glen and take this team to new heights it's never seen before.
I agree. The high point of last season for Maverick Gum, Landon Savage, and those seniors was Meadowbridge. Was that a great feeling? Yeah. Was it enough? Depends on who you are. The year before that, when Maddox Shriver and J.C. Spears, there's a name I bet you haven't heard in a while, J.C. Spears beat Peyton City to deny them of the playoffs in the last year of their football program. Did it feel good when these seniors were sophomores? Yeah, I'm sure it was. Is that the best feeling that you've had? No, probably not, because Meadowbridge was better, but do you want a better feeling than that? I'll do you one better. When you guys were freshmen, when little Tyson Price was running around beating Calhoun County and all that good stuff, was the overtime victory, that was your guys' 8th grade year. So scratch that, reverse it. But you get my point here. Was getting your butts beat by Williamstown at PHS Field on a soggy high 30s first round of the playoffs, was that the cool feeling? Just to be playing football in November, was that the best feeling? No, I don't think it was.
Went out and you play every game you play on turf from this point forward.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is the key, because you're used to playing on turf. You want that feeling of playing on turf.
Don't tell Cooper Statler that. He likes to get his jersey dirty.
I enjoy grass. We know that myself. But at the same time, you don't want to go to Tug Valley. You don't want to go to Pendleton and play on grass. Can you beat them? Sure. But wouldn't you rather them guys be coming to you and have to not practice on grass all week long and have to come up here and play you on turf?
And I'll tell you what, if you're not ready for this game, I can tell you this. Just give you this stat. Who would you rather play the first round of the playoffs at home, regardless of whether you're 6 or 4? Would you rather be playing Greenbrier West, Ritchie County, or Gilmer County, or do you want to play Cameron again? Do you want to play Wirt? Do you want to play East Hardy? I don't want to play those teams in the first round of the playoffs.
That is a huge
talent gap
between that. Between 13 and down, the talent in single A football, no offense, but it drops drastically. There's 12 decent teams, is what I'll say. Get in that top 4. You're probably not paying. At 4, you got a chance to play an okay team, is what I'll say. But if you get in that top 3, you're probably playing a team that
you can beat by 50.
Get a little bit of rest before the next week comes in. You know what I mean?
Get the young guys some playoff experience.
But as I say that, and we're preaching to our guys, I can also tell you right now that Oak Glen sits at 13 in the AA seed. They're going to come in here and they're going to give you what they got, because they know beating you moves them in to playing.
If they win this game, they're a lock for the playoffs. Period.
Yeah, and that's what they want. They want a chance to make the playoffs themselves. They've been, 1-9 and 2-8 the last 2 years. You've had transfers come in. You've had a middle school team step up, and they're looking at a chance to make the playoffs for the first time in 3 years, we'll say. It may have been longer. But, this is a program that hasn't felt that either. This is 2 programs that both should be hungry, and we're probably going to find out which program is hungrier come Friday night? Do you want that extra motivation to get there? And you've got to fight for it. It ain't going to come easy. I mean, I believe in these boys. I've seen them over the last 4 years grow up. I mean, it's amazing to think to me that we've seen these guys since freshmen come in and do it. And I've seen the hunger. I've seen the hunger in Braden Ponceroff. I know how bad he wants it. I know how bad Cooper Statler wants it because I've seen that boy hurt for the last 2 years after the last loss of the season.
I know how bad Josh Wilson wants it.
That boy thrives every Friday/Saturday afternoon. There wasn't more, how do I want to word it, actions or whatever after that interception that he caused. Like he was screaming and flexing and everything else, screaming on the sideline when everybody else had calmed down. He was still screaming. These boys have been waiting for this, and I know they can take it. But Friday night, you've got to go take. They ain't going to give it to you because they're fighting for a playoff spot too.
And I can tell you this. I mean, seniors can't do it all by themselves. Okay, this junior class is big. It's huge. It's played a extreme part, especially in the past couple weeks. You don't win the last 2 weeks without your juniors. You don't win without Corey Cohen. You don't win without Santa Fe Clovis. You don't win without Caleb Snodgrass. I mean, you don't win without those guys. Sophomores. You don't win without Caleb Hall.
You think about last year.
Juniors also. Caleb Bragg.
You think about last year at New Martinsville.
Yeah.
And you think about how that game went down. And I'm just, I'm going to kind of call somebody out a little bit right now. But I want Corey to think about how he felt as he stood on that sideline and he couldn't get back in that game. Because I want him to understand that when he plays Friday night, he needs that same hunger when he was standing on that sideline and he wanted to get in. Use that as motivation to yourself that now you've got a chance at redemption this year. Like, you're going to make the playoffs, but you got a chance of not only making the playoffs, but making this huge leap from last year to this year. I can remember talking to him, I think, after the game and talking to his mom and how bad he wanted to get back in that game, and the decision was made not to be there. And I can only imagine, because he loves his teammates, how bad he wanted to get back in there. Would have we won if he got back in there? It would have been interesting to have seen, because I've seen what he done last week versus Sherman. You know what I mean? Like, it only takes one play. It's the next play up. And I do believe that if he plays his best game of ball controlled, keeping the ball, not turning it over, taking the 15-yard play instead of the 50, and working our way to it, because I'm telling you, you're not going to beat this team with the big plays. If we do, y'all can call me out. You can play this recording next week. You're going to have to beat them consistently down the field. It's going to take probably 8 to 10 play drives. If you get a quick one, great. Like, celebrate it, because I don't think it's going to happen a whole lot.
And it's not going to happen at all on defense.
Yep.
You're probably not going to get a lot of 3-and-outs. If you do, great. Consider it a win.
Yes.
But you're probably, I'm not kidding, there's going to be 2, maybe 3 first downs, maybe 4, and then you get in the red zone. And Chance, I talked to you about this before. I think the red zone is the biggest key tonight. Who gets 6 and who gets nothing? I'm not even going to say 3. Who gets 6, who gets nothing?
I think the other thing to put in there, we know they like to run. We like to run.
Especially in the red zone.
You may not get that many drives.
Yeah.
So each drive means so much more. You may get, I'll say it, you may get 6 total drives the entire game. You may touch the ball 3 times each half. Each one of them drives is going to be so valuable to you. Take advantage of it.
Any final thoughts before we head over to the coach's interview?
Excited for Friday night. I'm interested to see how these boys build off of last Saturday. I seen how excited they were. I feel like they were still hungry. They were still acting like, well, I made it, maybe I made this or I made that. I could still see them seeing how they could get better. And I'm sure they were hitting the film room and they were doing all that. I want to see them come out Friday night and be better, because I believe, I've told you, a championship team is a team that gets better every week. Doesn't matter about wins or losses at that point in time, as long as you're getting better every week. But if you've gotten better every week and you get better this week from last week, you should walk away Friday night with a win and a very high possibility of a top 4 seed in the playoffs, hosting 2 playoff games.
You win, yeah. I was going to say you win this game, you're a top 4 lock, but you still got one more.
You still got to beat Magnolia.
Yeah. But, all right. When we come back, we'll have the HealthWorks coaches interview. And then after that, we'll pick some games. It's always fun doing, like, the motivational coach speak. We don't get to do it very often. And we have to do it to ourselves and hope that everybody's listening.
I agree. I mean, it is fun. I mean, I love these boys to death. There's nothing more. I got to speak to them last week, you bringing that up. Like, I got to speak to a lot of them. Me and Jonathan finished up, and I looked at Jonathan. I said, hey, I'll put this stuff up later. I'm going down to the locker room. Stopped in, seen LePost, said, hey, can I jump in the locker room? He goes, sure. And I got in there and, got to give, Ponceroff puts his hand out to shake my hand. I said, the hell with that. Let's, I gave him a big hug and told him how proud I was of him. I went to Cooper Statler. I went to Josh Wilson. Went to Snodgrass. Went to Santa Fe Clovis. Like, I just went and talked to these boys and just told them how proud I am of them and to just pretty well keep kicking, keep fighting. There's something special here. I can see it. I hope they do too.
All right. Perfect way to end it. That's segment 1. HealthWorks coaches interview coming up next here on WAJR.com.
Once upon a time, there were no portable toilets, and finding relief was an adventure. Then came crowded restrooms, unpleasant and inconvenient. Enter Saving Grace Septic and Rentals, providing clean, reliable portable toilets for every event, from football games to family gatherings, even work sites. And when septic systems need service, we're your first call. We're local, we care, and we're there when you need to go. For comfort and convenience, we're your saving grace. 304-282-7210.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to segment 2 of the pregame show here on WAJR.com. Halloween themed. The Exorcist theme, of course, as everybody knows. It's probably one of my favorites. I've put my top 3 in here, so I guess you'll find out what the third one is in the pick segment. But, Coach, are you a big fan of horror movies and The Exorcist?
Oh, my goodness. Absolutely not. Yeah.
Not a fan of horror movies just in general, or just not The Exorcist?
Not anything with, like, demonic possession stuff. It's that gives me nightmares, and I think I've watched maybe like a scary movie. I walked in, I went to bed, and I when I was a little kid, and I went to the kitchen to get a drink of water or something, and they were watching. My parents were watching Arachnophobia, and a horror movie about spiders, and that messed with me as a little kid, and so I've just always stayed away from that scary stuff, man. So that's funny or not, I don't know.
I was going to say, you bring that up. The name of that song, if I'm correct, is Tubular Bells.
Yep.
And I just wanted to ask, are you tired of hearing still probably them Sherman cowbells that were going off behind your ears?
Oh, absolutely not. I love cowbells. That's what football should sound like. We need to get some more of them ourselves.
Oh, so he's just saying bring out the cowbells.
Yeah,
That's essentially what he's saying.
We need more cowbell in Blacksville.
There we go. Now he knows that Fear the Reaper is coming next week for his final one.
There's going to be a big billboard headed into Blacksville. We need more cowbell.
With Aaron LePeau dressed up as Will Ferrell with the crop top and the belly hanging out and whatnot.
I could definitely pull that off. Yeah.
So, Coach, I mean, we all had anxiety coming into that game. Chance exhaled in the 2-point conversion. Jonathan exhaled at the interception. With the way that the fumbles were coming, I exhaled at the knee. Are you one of those guys who gets anxious or has anxiety on the sidelines, or are you one of those cool, calm, and collected kind of guys?
Yeah, so not on the sideline. I read a book called The Confident Mind, and one of the big takeaways from the book is fall in love with your butterflies. And what it's trying to say is, like, that's just your body trying to tell you what you're about to do is really important to you. And it's your body giving you, like, adrenaline. And, the science behind that is you can actually run faster and jump higher. So it's your body preparing you for performance. So I'm trying to reframe in my players' minds, like, anxiety is actually a good thing. And I want you to fall in love with these butterflies. It's just your body trying to help you. So I get all of that. Those juices flowing. I mean, mine are already flowing right now for this coming week. And so that is like all during the week. And then, the hour and a half before the game, I can't sit still. And I've got, that's when, I don't know, that anxiety's there. But once I get down the sideline, it's like, it's more like an out-of-body experience. I'm like in a really peaceful place down there. So, the feelings out there on the sideline when all that's happening it is calm when it's down there on the side. As crazy as that sounds, like where it's anxiety all week long, but down on the sidelines, like the nice, calm, home, happy place. I will say my moment of exhaling a sigh of relief was when Josh hit the quarterback's arm and Mercer caught the pick, because that was the moment the game was over. We knew we could go pull off taking a knee play after that.
Coach, you first of all, big shout out to you guys. That was my first time out there, and I talked about this earlier. You guys, you're teaching these guys how to become young men, and you can play all the great football you want. All of them shook my hands when I came by. You guys were great. Your staff was great. And the chili dog recommendation was great. Yeah, so I just wanted to give a big thank you to that. But also, before that final Clovis touchdown and the interception, what are you, without giving anything away, what's your message to the team, other than obviously you can say that, oh, well, it's good to be anxious and stuff, but what's your train of thought going into that final sequence in those final 5 minutes? You have that lead all game long, and then it just withers away, and you have to respond. How are you motivating them?
It was just the conversation was with me and Corey on the sideline, and he was pretty hard on himself. Corey's a really tough kid, and he has no quit in him, but he also felt really responsible for the state that game was in. For most of the game, he played a bad game until he made that. He had a few nice throws throughout the game and some runs, but he made a few mistakes. But I looked at him and I said, "Listen, we have plenty of time left. I've seen a lot of beautiful things happen in football in the last minute, or when the clock's running down last play of the game." I said, I looked at him and I said, "We're going to run this play, and you're going to throw it, and Cody's going to catch it, and we're going to score a touchdown." And so I sometimes I think it's happened a few times with Corey where I'm just having a conversation with him, and I'm talking to him and he's listening, and we speak something into existence. And as crazy as this sounds, like when I said that to Corey, he gave me a head nod with a look in his eye I'll never forget. And I'm like, "Oh no, he's going to go do it." I knew that we were about ready to. I knew it was going to happen. I don't know how else to. I really did know if I was the look in his eye.
I was going to say, I've noticed since last year when Corey took over until now that he has matured into that next player. Like, he's made mistakes, but it always feels like he's ready for the next play. He forgets about that and he moves on. Have you kind of noticed that as he's matured too, that he's gotten better at putting the last play behind him and moving forward?
Absolutely, and I'm so proud of him for that, because that's a life. Again, we talk about all the time about raising young men. That's a life skill. That's going to being able to do that and go on to the next one is going to take you far in whatever career he chooses. So I'm proud as could be of him for being able to do that, and it's just like, that's easy. And, you can do that if you make one bad play, but when you do like 5 of them, throughout a game, and, but it was, and so for him to overcome that much adversity is even just, is that much more difficult. And so he has grown a lot as far as being able to do that, and he's becoming a fine young man. That's because of it.
Last one from me, Coach, on the Sherman game. How much did it take you from restraining yourself to not go onto that dog pile after Cameron Mercer made that interception?
Well, I made my own dog pile over on the sideline with I tackled Coach Aller and get up, and I've got 2 headsets, and I've lost my hat. So yeah, I definitely would have loved to get out there and dogpile on there with all the kids, but I was just I tackled Coach Aller because it's like our defense. We held them 8-0 for 3.5 quarters. With 5 turnovers. So, our defense. Wow. So. I was just, and Coach Allers, the brains behind all that. So I'm so tickled to death and blessed to be coaching with that man. He's doing a heck of a job.
And Coach, last question from me. You can have all the blowouts over teams with struggling records that you want, but what is an ugly win like this? Does it teach you more about your team?
I guess. You could say that. It was just a lot to overcome. I tell you what, I'm going to say this to you guys too. I don't think I'll get fined like they do in the NFL. We'll see. But it wasn't just the turnovers. I didn't realize the other Sherman strategy was going to be to come over and whine about holding every single play. Their whole coaching staff was screaming holding every single play. Their players, every single play, somebody was throwing their hands up pretending to be held. And a ref or two fell for it. And so I don't know. It felt we had over 100-something yards and holding penalties. And so that's me whining and complaining, and I won't talk about it anymore, I suppose. But I hope that officials in the playoffs don't fall for that kind of nonsense. That what ended up being is like the turnovers and that was a lot to overcome. And heck yeah, you learn a heck of a lot more by overcoming all kinds of adversity than you do when it's easy. So if you're not willing to quit, no matter what, no matter how much adversity, then I don't know if there's a better definition of being a man than that. So I know our team is, some of them are 18 years old and they are men now, and some of them are 15, 16, and they're young men working to be a man. And so, they played football like men. And I'm proud of them for that.
Yeah, I'd brought up after watching the film that the Sherman sideline was awful animated as far as, getting into the refs. I brought up the point beforehand when talking to Ethan and Jonathan that you see them all the time, even when not getting held, they throw their hands in the air.
Yeah.
But the one that got me was, and I told you this in the coach's office there before I left, I said, I need to see the Caleb Hall run at the beginning of the fourth quarter. And I went back and watched it.
The touchdown they called back, I can't find it. I
have watched it over, and I have watched each individual player to try to, narrow down who it was. And there's 2 pancake blocks. Like Zach Gump, I was telling them, takes his guy and just drives him to the outhouse. And then Cooper Payton pancake blocks somebody, and they're falling down with each other. But there's absolutely, I think they called, if I'm correct too, if it wasn't holding, it was a legal block in the back that they kept calling on Cooper all game long, Cooper Payton. And I have watched that over and over and over, and I would still love for that guy who threw that flag to tell me what he's seen, because I can't even see one. Like, you also look at when he's grabbing the flag and you're watching around, and there is nothing going on besides Zach Gump just taking the trash out. And like everybody else is a straight-up block. There is nothing in it,
I swear
it's frustrating.
It was just all the coaches yelling it and the players acting like it. And I feel like that gentleman just kind of fell for that, like he placated to that or got manipulated by that. It was really frustrating for me because I was raised by Coach Wilson playing football for him, and my family, they're like, don't criticize refs and don't say anything, we don't do that. And we had a good relationship with the ref on our sideline. And throughout the game, we don't scream and yell and call and complain for calls. And so it was really frustrating to see a team doing that and getting their way with it. And and the only thing I can do there is take the high road. I'm sitting here complaining it to you now, but like during the game, we just didn't. We just don't say it. I just kept telling people, don't say a word to it. Don't say a word to them. Just just keep playing football, no, it's just, I don't want to have to keep overcoming that. Geez, it was crazy.
No, but I mean, a lot of the penalties, Clay-Batelle had on him were after the whistle penalties. Whereas when you look back, I think, Sherman did have 8 penalties. We had 12, but a lot of theirs were pre-snaps. They either jumped offside or they had a false start. And, I know a lot of the times me and Ethan's always talking that you let the boys play a lot of the times, and it just felt like, they'd interjected themselves way too much into the game and weren't allowing the boys to decide the game on the field. But that
just contributed to a lot of the frustration and adversity. Yeah,
I appreciate you being candid with us about that. So, like I said, I didn't see the game. I didn't watch the game live, but and you can only do so much by what you see on film on a replay. But it just felt like
I'm not. It almost worked for them, but I'm not going to revert to that as a strategy for winning. I'm not going to go into games just trying to yell holding every play and see how many the ref will call just because I'm yelling at every play. That seemed to be their strategy to try to win. So we'll just keep blocking and finishing blocks and tackling people hard and let that win it.
Well, you say you always implement and say that you want to be the toughest football team that you every night on Friday night or Saturday afternoon, whichever you're wanting to play. And I think you certainly showed that you were the more physical team. No matter what the score was, I think you can safely establish that you were the more physical team. And once again, if that's your goal, I think you accomplished that. So let's move over to a team who I think is definitely more physical than Sherman in the Oak Glen Golden Bears. I'm going to say this. You don't have to reply or say anything. You could even nod your head with whatever answer that you want to say, and we won't even mention it ever here again. I bet when you sat there and put Oak Glen on the schedule that you did not think that this was going to be the game that it has turned out to be in terms of implications on your season. Fair?
So they got on the schedule. We had an issue with we always play Tigers Valley because we're in the Mason-Dixon Conference together, but there was an issue with what week we were playing, and there was confusion there, and we lost the game, and we're working on trying to get them back on. So then Oak Glen was right there, and I think our AD has a relationship with their AD, and they're not too far away. At least they're up towards the north. I guess they're not super close, but they're up in one of these northern teams, and so they were what 1-9 last year,
and I think 2-8 the year before.
Yeah, so but I knew they have their middle school team has been doing good for the last couple of years, like winning, beating teams like Brook and stuff like that. So I knew there were some good young ball players coming up. What I didn't know when I scheduled them was that Madonna was going to fold, and a decent amount of those football players were going to end up over there. So they've benefited, from Madonna deciding that they weren't going to be good enough, so they wouldn't have a football team this year.
At the same time, though, I bet Oak Glen didn't think that you would benefit so much from 100 transfers as well.
That's right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, well, I would say most. The question you just asked me is you could have asked that to just about everybody we played this year.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So that's what you got. It's a new team, and every year, every team's got their own year and has their own identity. So, no, they're right now. It's a strong AA team that plays big boy football, and they're gonna come in here and to Blacksville, and they're gonna play big boy football.
I'll ask you another question about Maddox Brown, the Madonna transfer, now the quarterback at Oak Glen. What have you seen through his game from year 1 to year 2 that you feel like he's improved on?
I mean, he was good last year, so we had a hard time playing him last year. He's a real good athlete. He can move around, make it hard to tackle him, and they run more of a power running offense, so they kind of use him less than what Madonna did last year as far as trying to spread it out and throw the ball around. But he's really good at carrying out his play fakes, so it's kind of hard to tell if he has the ball or not. He's a disciplined kid. You can tell that, like, the way he plays, he loves football. He pays attention to the small details when he plays as he's playing quarterback. So, yeah, real impressive kid.
And I felt like watching the highlights, like maybe you should be teaching the defensive line and the linebackers this week, kind of like the Karate Kid where they took the chopsticks and they were trying to catch the fly, because he just looks like a gnat back there. Like, he just runs back and forth and nobody's able to bring him down. Like, his feet create probably 70% of the plays that he makes with his arm. He gives himself so much time.
When he can stay alive for like 7-8 seconds, and people are just chasing him around, but like, that's hard to cover a receiver. I mean, somebody busts loose open somewhere after 8 seconds. That makes it, because all your coverages are out the window at that point. It becomes backyard football type thing, and he's made a lot of plays like that.
Now I'm going to switch to a player I watched on film on the other side. Not sure the name, but 54. On that defensive line, looks like he could start on a quad A defensive line. Have you kind of noticed the same thing? Like, he's a beast.
Yeah, he plays right guard for him too, and they like to run behind him a lot too. But he plays. He plays a heck of a. He fires out of his stance. He's tall, long, and strong. He's got a motor. Like, he doesn't quit on a play. He doesn't sit there and if you do block him, he doesn't stay blocked. Very good football player. Plays with technique and fundamentals and heart and energy. I mean, he's good.
Going back to what you were talking about the quarterback making plays with his legs, how do you teach, and maybe I guess this is more of a question for Coach Aller, but I'll ask you anyway, how do you teach corners and safeties to really stay disciplined maybe in their zones or against their man and stuff like that when a play breaks down like that, to not maybe lose sight and let somebody get behind you or be wide open in front of you?
Well, we go practice. We get a good scout team and we go practice it and try to put them in as most realistic situations as we can. And we've been doing a good job with that this year. With our scout team kids they practice really, really hard. So kudos to a bunch of those kids that are just serving the team in that manner. They're really helping make us better. But the other thing is you can't become a spectator and just stand back there and watch him run around the backfield. Your job's not to tackle him. If you're a corner safety, you need to stay in your coverage, and so that's where the discipline is. It's eye discipline and reading your key discipline. It's just, and that's where it falls apart is, and then especially when they run the ball, they can even put you to sleep there a little bit, and then all of a sudden you're in a scramble drill, and so the discipline is staying focused and locked in even on all those run plays, and then when it does turn into one of those, not get caught just watching. You got to do your job.
I'll ask you an offensive question here. Cody Clovis has really come alive these past couple of games. I mean, it shows on the stat sheet. He had the one completed pass against Riverview, and then he had the 2 highlight touchdown catches against Sherman, he's really come alive. I think you knew that he was going to be really special. We knew that he was going to be really special, and I guess we were kind of surprised at how well he's developed, honestly, because we thought maybe he'd come right out of the gate. You know, he also gets injured week 1, and then he's slowly built himself up. But talk to me about how much Cody Clovis has grown in your football program in just a few months that you've had
him. He's a great kid. I mean, if you sit there and talk to him, he's got some of the best manners you'd ever get from I might hear him say yes, sir. If I had a nickel for every time I heard him say yes, sir. He's a great kid. His, God gave him speed, and he's very, very fast. And he hurt his ankle early on, and so that took away the biggest asset. And it took him a while to get healthy. And then even when it was still bothering him and stuff. So I wouldn't say he's been 100% until like the last 2 weeks. And so there was that, just kind of nagging him. And then, being a new player to the team this year, just learning the offense and knowing, how it all works and what to do as far as what his assignment is, where to line up, and what the route is. And I will say one of the, things, I coach offensive line, and we're trying to be the toughest team on the football field. One of the things that he is doing that's kind of going unnoticed that I love to watch is he's doing a heck of a job blocking out there on the perimeter, being a perimeter blocker for his teammates. And so, that's absolutely necessary for him. So if he can have all that speed, make those catches, and go block for people when it's somebody else getting the ball, that's pretty special.
I know the answer to this question, but I'll ask it anyway. You talk about how you coach offensive line, and you have a very mature offensive line. Although it's a good mixture of classes, it's a very mature offensive line. Gump is a junior, Doshin's a sophomore, and then you have seniors of Huggy Bear, Mercer, and Statler, who are almost some of your team captains. And then you have great senior leadership across the board. But how do you address your team to sit there and go, keep being hungry, don't get complacent? You've got another couple of big games here before the playoffs begin, and we need to get as much points as we can to get the highest seed that you can and get home field advantage in the playoffs as much as possible.
What they need to learn this week, and, this isn't just, I don't know if this is a Royal West Virginia thing or West Virginia thing or Black Spot. I don't know. I guess there's some people all over that are like, they get the feeling that, hey, pretty good is good enough. I'm happy with pretty good. And so what they need to learn this week is, is that who you really are? Are you happy with being pretty good? Or, why not go win this game? Or why not dream big? And why not win this game? And hey, who knows? Maybe we'll get to rank number 2. And, hey, let's win 3 home playoff games and go to Charleston. And go upset Wheeling Central, Oklahoma, or something like that, and go win that. But all that big dream starts with beating Oak Glen Friday. So, that's my take on it. Is let's not be okay with just being pretty good. Right now you can say, we got there. We're 7-1. We're in the playoffs. Are you happy with pretty good, or why not chase greatness? And I've talked to them about that, and they have a lot to play for this week. Today's Tuesday, and we're playing on Saturday. It's more like a Monday, so I'll find out tomorrow on Wednesday what kind of team we have as far as that goes. There's still more to learn about these guys.
And I mean, we've talked before, we're using the calculators here, trying to figure out the playoff seedings and everything. But as you talk kind of about the players, what do you want to be? And, I've watched this team. I've watched film on some of the other teams that are in play towards the top. And you're right. I mean, I'm in agreement with you. This team has an opportunity to chase greatness. And I truly believe that. I mean, I've looked at, the pictures on the wall outside the coach's office, and I believe you guys made it to the semifinals one time. But you've never made it to the Island, or you never made it to Charleston, however you want to look at it now.
I don't care where it is if we're playing in it.
So, I mean, at the same time, it's like, they have a chance. This team, I truly believe, has a chance to do something
that's never been done
that's
before.
never been done before, as long as they put their minds, their heart, and they keep improving each week like they've done. To me, that's what a champion does, is you improve from one week to the next. You never stop developing. You never stop maturing. And I've kind of felt like this team's doing that. I mean, you could look at all the setbacks we had on Saturday with the turnovers and the penalties, but the team never let them do that. Like, that's another mature level that they were able to take all that adversity, fight through it, and still get the win. And, I mean, I'm in agreement with you. I think this team has an opportunity to do greatness. And with you making that comment, I'll be watching that Friday night to see, to a certain extent, which guys want to taste that greatness.
Do they want to be great, or are they okay being pretty good? You'll find out Friday night. Yeah, that's like where their mentality's at, and they got to prove that. They got to show us what who they are there, because they went out and they did something special. Beating Sherman, but there's more special things to do, in my opinion.
Job not done. I think that's how we can sum that up. Job not done. All right, Coach, you get the final word. Anything you want to pitch to us before we let you go?
I can't think of anything. I tell you what, it was a great environment on Saturday. I do think that, getting to play a game like that was a playoff type game on a Saturday, and the cowbells are ringing, and there's cars parked across the creek, and it's packed, and it was a beautiful atmosphere, and I do think that helps our team prepare for the playoffs. And so those lights won't be too big for us. We've been through that, so that's pretty cool. But I'd just like to keep asking for community support and coming out. I know this Friday is Halloween, and so a lot of kids will be wanting to trick or treat and stuff like that. But if you can, I think my kids are going to come in their costumes, and we'll have a bunch of people dressed up in the stands and make it a fun time for the kids.
Bring the candy, have your own trunk or treat in the parking lot, come wear your costumes, bring a cool atmosphere. It's going to be a lot of fun. I remember a whole bunch of times growing up, you getting to do your little Halloween thing at the ball field on Friday night. I mean, you know how it is in Williamstown on a Friday night. It's high school ball time, and it didn't matter what holiday was coming in, whether it was Thanksgiving or 4th of July or anything like that. If the lights were on, you were at the stadium. So I think that's a good way to end it here and talk about come out to the stadium, wear your costumes, have a good time, and let's get a CB's victory on Friday night.
Hey, thank you very much, and thank you for everything you're doing to support these boys.
Absolutely. Thank you, Coach LePau. All right, take care.
You too.
All right, that's going to be the coach's interview here on WAJR.com, sponsored by HealthWorks. When your body hurts, go to HealthWorks. Find a location near you at healthworks.com. When we come back, we'll pick some games. Are you interested in the final song chance that comes about here on this final one?
I am. You got me a little bit curious.
Yeah, all right. I guess you'll just have to find out. Up next here on WAJR.com.
Health works for you, for rehab and fitness too.
Keeping high school athletes healthy is something that HealthWorks Rehab and Fitness takes great pride in. That's why our certified athletic trainers work with many area schools during practice and on the sidelines during tonight's game. Unfortunately, injuries do happen in sports, at work, and at home. At HealthWorks, our goal remains the same, to get you back in action. When you need physical therapy, you need HealthWorks. HealthWorks Rehab and Fitness, Morgantown, Westover, Cheat Lake, Blacksville, Smithfield, Waynesburg, Fairmont, and Buchanan. When your body hurts, go to HealthWorks.
Welcome back to the pregame show, special Halloween edition of the prediction show here on WAJR.com as the final game of the season the final game in the month of October will take place on Halloween night. And it's time to make some predictions. Guys, are we ready?
I think we are.
We are.
All right, cue the music.
Hello. Do you want to play a game?
Maybe a little bit tougher here. Musselman versus Jefferson.
I'm going to choose Musselman.
In Quad A, Steubenville, Ohio, up against Wheeling Park.
Last week may have scared me a little bit with the Barnesville prediction. I'm going to see Wheeling Park go over there and bring the win home.
Independence has been playing like a AAA side. They beat Barnesville, Ohio. They've beaten Herbert Hoover, and now they play Princeton Tigers.
I'm going to go with the non-AAA team. And if you can beat Barnesville, Ohio, after me making the comment that's a different class of football, I'm going to go with Independence.
I am also going to go with Independence. Spring Valley taking on Quad A side Beckley, or Woodrow Wilson, for those who don't know.
I'm going with Beckley. Woodrow Wilson. Please put down Woodrow Wilson because on Metro News, it says Woodrow Wilson, okay? I can't find Beckley when I'm looking up who they play.
Chapmanville. Might as well call them a AA team. They've played a AA schedule, playing another AA team in Logan.
I think Logan's battle test, I think that loss to Mingo Central is going to help them. So I got Logan.
Logan. Taking Logan. South Harrison against Tyler County.
South Harrison is the definition of ice cold. Give me Tyler Consolidated.
Tyler.
Fighting Hazes. Not a bad week. Not a bad week. Certainly not a great week, but not a bad week.
Speak for yourself.
Speak for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
I went 10-2 in my debut.
Okay, yeah, that is fair. He did lead the way this week at 10-2. Right behind him at 9-3.
We always like to let the new guy have a game up on us.
Yeah.
We let Kyle step in for me. We let him do really good the first week.
Yeah, we let Luke come in.
That's what I mean, Luke, yeah.
I'll fall apart this week. I'll fall apart this week.
He does one game and he puts in all the confidence in the world. Anyway, 10-2 for Jonathan, 9-3 for me. Chance 7-5. I know you probably noticed you heard yourself a lot on the screams. You had a lot of screams.
I did notice that it kept coming up.
So overall records, Chance, this brings you to 48-34 with a 58% win percentage. Congratulations, Mike Tomlin. 58-40 for me, which puts me at 59% win percentage. Do you want me to say stop? Do you want me to say stop the count?
No, go ahead.
Or do you want to recount?
I don't need a recount.
Okay.
I don't need a recount.
All right, guys. Quad A, matchup 1. It's Mohawk Bowl. Who do you guys got in the Mohawk Bowl?
I'll go ahead and start. Morgantown's only loss was to Martinsburg. Now, granted, it was a bit of a blowout. University is a really solid team. However, they're not as dominant. I'm going to take Morgantown.
Morgantown.
Unanimous decision. Okay. All right. Preston versus Buchanan Upshur. No Tank Bowl music.
What?
No Tank Bowl music.
I wrote Tank Bowl on my paper.
No Tank Bowl music.
Well, both of them have, one win?
I think Preston actually has 3.
Okay. I'm going to go with Preston. I just kind of looking at the schedules and so on. Feel like this is their opportunity to finally walk away with a win.
Preston for me as well.
I'm taking Buchanan Upshur because, hey, listen, same records, right? Yeah.
No, I think Buchanan Upshur has I think Preston has a couple more wins than Buchanan Upshur does. I could be wrong.
I think that's wrong.
Actually, each of them are 1-7. I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
I that's what I checked. I'm taking Buchanan Upshur, despite the losses, back-to-back 30-point offensive performances over the past 2 weeks, and Preston's win. Can't remember who it was. I wrote it down somewhere. But Preston's win, I think, was less impressive than Buchanan Upsher's win.
Okay. So he's going to go with Buchanan Upshur. Interesting.
He is the professional. He went 10-2 last week.
Wait, can I ask why there's no Tank Bowl music for this? This is bad.
It probably should be a Tank Bowl. I honestly thought that Preston was like 3 and something. Here, fine. I'll play it. There you go. Here. Ready? Preston.
Oh, no!
The host sucks again.
You know what?
Thank
I feel at ease now that we've played that. Don't you, Jonathan?
Yeah, there's a bit of tension in the air.
There was a little bit of tension. We're all a little grumpy.
I don't know why.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. That's what Meatloaf says. So we outvoted you.
Woodrow Wilson.
With your joke earlier, there was no late mail-in ballots just showing up in a U-Haul truck.
Ooh, there you go. Good one. Woodrow Wilson. Hey, I put it on there this time. It's Woodrow Wilson. Beckley, for those that don't know, against Oak Hill. Can I call this the Fraud Bowl?
Yes.
Okay, Fraud Bowl. I don't have music for that, but Fraud Bowl.
I'm gonna go with Beckley.
Hey, okay.
I'm going Oak Hill. Oak Hill's on a 2-game win streak. Woodrow 2 straight losses. I'm not confident in either of these teams.
I'm not confident in either of these teams either. But I trust Jonathan more than I trust you. I'm going to take.
I'll remember that.
Don't blame me. Don't blame me if I'm wrong.
I put this on here just for your sake. I don't think we're going to take it per se, but your alma mater, Cabell Midland, taking on Huntington. We do put our alma maters on here. I didn't do that last week. I'm sorry for that. But since you're kind of a host emeritus, I'll go ahead and put your alma mater on here. But probably shouldn't take this one, right? Like, don't pick this one?
Yeah, don't add it to the picks. I really don't think so. And I don't want it to be an official one, especially if I'm wrong about my alma mater. Huntington's going to obliterate them, and it's going to be ugly. Yeah. However, I had some great memories. I can't remember right offhand. I think they split in my 4 years at Midland. That was back when Midland was really good, but so was Huntington. I remember the shield being in the hallways. That's still the thing, is the battle for the shield. The winning team gets to keep it in a trophy case in the main hallway.
Oh, I get it, because you guys are both kind of knights.
The Highlanders and the Knights.
Yeah.
It's a sweet. It's a like hand painted shield, and they hang it right in the middle of like the main hallway of whichever school wins it that year. So really neat. I'd love to pick Midland. Huntington's going to have.
I'm pretty sure the only game that we ever played, as in Clay-Batelle, that has a trophy is the Trinity Christian versus versus Clay-Batelle football trophy, and I think it's literally just a picture of Mon County with the 2 schools on it. And Trinity did not have a football team this year, and they did last year, but they didn't play us, even though they were on the schedule. And that has been sitting there. It's a little dusty in the trophy cabinet because it hasn't been brought out for anything. So, but to tell you the truth, back to that point, I love rivalry games that have trophies. It should be exploited to its absolute most effect in all of sports for football.
1,000% too. And although I did say Huntington will probably obliterate them, there's a very real chance that this ends up being a less than 10-point game. They always play each other tough. There's a reason it's a rivalry.
And it is. That is why you have rivalry games. I mean, for instance, this year we'll go into college for it, but did anybody really see WVU beating Pitt? I mean, nobody's seen that, and it happened.
I mean, a lot of people had that. A lot of people had that as a win coming into the season, and then you didn't have it because of recency bias after a loss to Ohio, and you're probably looking back on the season and you're going, oh my God, but Eli Holstein wasn't benched by that point. So, I mean, we're getting way too down in the weeds. But the Backyard Brawl doesn't have a trophy. We have the Black Diamond Trophy, which is for Virginia Tech and West Virginia. We hold on to that trophy. There's the Ben Schwartzwalder Trophy, which will probably never be played for ever again between West Virginia and Syracuse Does Maryland and I don't think Maryland and West Virginia has a trophy. Does Marshall have any?
They did the Friends of Coal Bowl. I don't know if there was an actual.
There is no.
Yeah, I don't.
But does Marshall have any with any rivals?
Battle for the Bell against OU, Ohio.
Ooh,
that's a really cool one because after the win, they come and ring the bell. It's awesome.
See. That's why I love
that was always my favorite, even over the Friends of Coal Bowl. Not just because WVU always beat Marshall, but the fact that the OU-Marshall rivalry was great for many, many years.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, moving on to AAA after that tangent there. Fairmont Senior versus Bridgeport. 2 AAA or AA, whatever you want to call classifications, based off the move powerhouses. I'll go first in this one. I'm taking Bridgeport.
We'll just put it this way. You could put triple, you could put quad, you could put double, you could put single, but Bridgeport is a powerhouse. Bridgeport.
Yeah, unfortunately, as great as Fairmont Senior is, they only have 1 loss on the year. Bridgeport undefeated and hasn't lost to Fairmont Senior since 2019. I'm taking the Indians.
If I remember correctly, Fairmont Senior's only losses to University, right?
Correct.
I think you are correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I mean that's a pretty good loss if you.
No, I think they're a good team. It's just I think Bridgeport's just a step above.
Are they currently in the same class?
Yes.
Yes.
They are currently in the same class.
That makes me look terrible for not knowing that. But
no, it's a fair point because even when we just had 3 classes, Bridgeport was always on the cusp of AAA or AA when it was 3 classifications, and then it went to 4 classifications, and now they're very predominantly in the same classification.
Yeah, but the reason I ask that is I 100% seeing this being a rematch in the playoffs, so I think Bridgeport gets the upper hand here.
Interesting. Next matchup, I know it's not a AAA matchup, but it might as well be. I have probably had Chapmanville on here every week for the past 4 weeks, and I've picked against them, and they have not. They've continuously gave me a loss every single week. This time, they play Mingo Central, the Ellis alma mater. I'll go first in this one. I'm going to pick against Chapmanville again, and I'm going to go with the Miners of Mingo Central.
I'm going to take the guaranteed point.
Wow, that's not cool, Chance.
Okay, I see where you're going with that. I still think this is probably the biggest, if not the second biggest, toss-up of the week. I underestimated Chapmanville like you did last week, and I got it wrong as one of my 2, but I'm taking Mingo Central.
Moving on to AA, once again, another interclassification matchup, but big bonus points on the line here for the Ritchie County Rebels, despite taking on a winless AA side in Ravenswood here. This is the make or break for the playoffs for the Ritchie County Rebels, Chance. I'll go first in this one because technically I'm in the lead between the 2 of us. So I'm going to pick Ritchie County in this.
Now I'm going to go the opposite of you. I looked at Ravenswood, and I know Jonathan's comment last week of 1 win's better than 0, and I looked at it, and I just felt like Ravenswood's been competitive in some games. They've lost them, but against some better competition. And being in Ravenswood between those 2, moving up the classification, I feel like the other thing I looked at is after this, Ravenswood's got like a really, really difficult game. And to me, if they've circled any game on their calendar right now, it's going to be Ritchie County to go, hey, guys, we don't want that goose egg at the end of the year. They're going to play their hearts out this week. And I just feel, was it the Ravenswood Red Devils, if I'm correct, will come away with the win.
I hate that you stole that because you'll never believe what I wrote down here. 2 wins are better than none. I'm taking Ritchie County.
Oh, there we go. So Ritchie County, couple ones for them. Alma mater time, Williamstown versus Wayne. Jonathan, I'll let you go first this time.
I think both of these teams are extremely competitive losers this year. I didn't expect Wayne to take a step back like they did this year.
I didn't expect Williamstown to take a step back like they did.
Exactly, competitive losers because they're not really getting blown out every week. They're hanging in there, and they've had both of them have had extremely tough schedules. I'm taking Wayne. Williamstown's in trouble missing the playoffs, but we said maybe that'll be a motivator, and it hasn't really panned out. Give me Wayne.
Chance, you gave me a little bit of a funny look when he said competitive losers. I didn't take that as a negative term.
I wasn't saying that in a bad way.
Well,
I get what you meant.
To me, it was a little bit harsh towards Williamstown. Know that you're a Williamstown fan. No, not in that way. Not in that way, Jonathan. I want to put it this way. There's 2 W's there. One of them's got to walk away with the W. And I haven't lost my faith in Williamstown. Last week versus Doddridge County, me and you had this discussion earlier before we went on that I think Doddridge County's, I said maybe top 3, if not, after you showed it to me, top 4 AA team. And, losing to Doddridge County is not a shame for Williamstown. I could easily see them matching up again in the playoffs down the road, but I'm going with Williamstown.
I'm going to go with Williamstown as well, taking a big victory on the road here. Didn't give Single A lot of love last week, giving them a lot of love this week because there's a lot of good games. Cameron versus East Hardy. Another powerhouse of Single A brand names, I guess you could call it. 2 really good Single A sides going up against each other with 2 tough schedules ahead of them. Jonathan, I'll let you go first.
Well, both of these teams, I feel, have kind of taken, again, another example of 2 teams taking a step back. But East Hardy, 5 straight wins, and Cameron has taken a bit of a step back, especially in the past month. I'm going to take East Hardy.
I am going to take Cameron.
I'm going to take Cameron also, and I think a little bit this may just be picking with my heart a little bit because I think the win by Cameron helps Clay-Batelle more. I know that drive down there.
It doesn't really. We'll get in. We kind of went over that, but at the same time, though, it doesn't really help or hurt you. It only hurts you. It only helps you if you lose. But at the same time, if you do lose, you want Cameron to lose, if that makes sense. So if you're picking with your heart, you technically want to go with the Cougars.
Right. There's some part of me, too, that a win by Cameron, I know you're saying it doesn't, but I think adding that loss to East Hardy helps more than the Cameron side of things. Mm-hmm. I think that'll knock East Hardy down the bracket a little bit, which won't be a bad thing to where maybe we won't have to face them either. But at the same time, that is a long trip to make to go down there. And
if you looked at a map, you wouldn't think it would be, quote unquote, that long. But it is. It's really tough.
And I just feel the coach of Cameron, have a lot of respect for him. Mm-hmm. And I feel, as Jonathan brought up, their back's been up against the wall a little bit here. I don't think they want to put themselves in a predicament where they don't host a playoff game, is what I will say. And a lost East Hardy puts them in that bracket of possibly falling out with a win the last week of the season, which I think if I'm correct, they've got 2 competitive games left. And if they would lose both, it puts them in that predicament. And I believe in the coach will have them route up for this one, and I will choose Cameron.
Okay. I am going to go with Cameron as well for kind of a different reason here. I think Cameron is motivated to host a playoff game. I've talked about this multiple times when we got into the rankings segment. The problem is not just the fact that Cameron wants to go to the playoffs. They want to host playoff games. They want to be a high seed. They've been a high seed since since they've gotten into the Single A classification, because we saw the Single A or Cameron get better as a football team when they kept going down a class into the Single A classification. For that, I'm going to have Cameron winning this one. Tyler County, or Tyler Consolidated, versus St. Mary's. Chance's alma mater? Is he going to pick against his alma mater? We'll find out last, because Jonathan is going to go first.
St. Mary's on a 5-game winning streak, and I'm really liking what they're doing down there. I'll take the Blue Devils.
Ooh. Interesting. I am going to go with the Knights of Tyler Consolidated. Big win a couple weeks ago against Oak Glen. Had a bit of a setback against South Harrison. I think this is a get-right game for the Tyler Consolidated Knights.
I was going to say, they end up beating Cameron. They end up beating Oak Glen. I just feel like Tyler's the better team. I've watched St. Mary's on film versus Oak Glen this week, trying to prepare for this week. And overall, Tyler is a very athletic team. they got speed all the way around, and I think that's what gave the two teams that they beat, and we speak of Cameron and them fits, is they had the speed to match up with that receiver and quarterback. And with that, I looked at St. Mary's. They're more of a bruiser type team, got some big bodies up front, but I'm going to choose Tyler Consolidated also.
All right. Petersburg in AA taking on Tucker County. This one has major playoff seeding implications, because if Tucker County can get a win here, that will put them probably into the hosting category, whereas Petersburg is also on the outside kind of looking into the playoffs. They want to get as high of a seed as they can. This is always an interesting matchup because we watch Petersburg take on these really good single A schools, and it always ends up being a good game. But Jonathan, I'll let you go first.
I'm so torn on this one. Part of me wants to take Petersburg on size, and that's what I had written down, but that wasn't over the air. So I'm going to take Tucker County. I think I've been on the fence not all week, for a couple days at least on this one. So I'm going to take Tucker County on an audible.
Petersburg, just a gut feeling.
Petersburg.
All right.
Well, maybe I should have stuck with it. It's going to be feast or famine for me this week because I'm picking against you two.
Usually it ends up working out for you. All right. Second to last matchup.
Oh no! We suck again!
Don't worry, you guys can be bad together in a couple of years because you guys are consolidating.
They consolidate, they can get 2 wins.
They can get 2 wins, and whatever, if you put a trophy for this matchup, whatever trophy it is, you can put it into the trophy case and it never has to leave.
Transitive property.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Magnolia versus Valley Wetzel. Valley yet to get a win. Magnolia got 1 win. Can Valley get that 1 win?
Can I go first on this so I don't get my thunder stolen? What do you think I'm going to say? 1 win is better than
none.
That's going to be my catchphrase on here. I got Magnolia.
Magnolia.
You sure about that?
Yep.
Because last time they thought, when you had timeouts, 1 is a lot better than none.
It is. It's confusing. We had
it
one
is.
timeout.
It is very confusing.
They thought we had 0, but I'm still choosing Magnolia, not because of their fan base, but because I think they'll win the game.
Valley.
Wow.
Ooh.
Here's why. Thank you. Here's why. Valley needs to get wins against Magnolia while they still can.
Interesting. 15 seniors is one I'm choosing Magnolia.
That's fine. It's a fair point. To be quite honest with you, I'm not confident in this, but I kind of know the Magnolia fan base. I think they've mentally checked out. I would venture to guess and say a lot of those 15 seniors have probably mentally checked out. They probably thought that they were going to have a lot better of a season than they've had this year.
I'll be honest. If I see the guy in the stands, I may talk to LePeau at halftime when we play Magnolia to see if he'll call a 4th timeout for me just for the fun of it at the end of the game.
But you're getting my point.
I do.
I think Valley kind of, I won't necessarily say that they expected this, but they knew what they had probably coming in with a rebuilding year.
I covered them last year for MOV to go, and I was really impressed that Gavin Derby kid.
Yeah.
He was something else. He lit up Frontier a week after you guys had him. So, but losing that and a couple other key pieces, Valley just came out flat. It was DOA for Valley this year. I think Magnolia, that not only did they finally pick up a win last week, they picked up a shutout, and I think that shows a lot. So that's why I'm taking Magnolia.
Still sticking with Valley Wetzel. Okay. This is another one that has big playoff implications. Who would have thought probably coming into this season that Buffalo Putnam would be playing for a playoff spot in AA?
I love it. I love what they're doing out there because that offense is firing right now. 73 points last week. And playing against a single A Meadow Bridge, I think Buffalo's going to ravaged them.
Well, there you go. See, I didn't even need to set it up. He set it up for me.
He did, and I'm near myself looking at it. If they scored 73 points, that means they've only scored 200 every other game together combined because they got 273.
Yeah,
but they've gotten better throughout the year.
They've gotten better throughout the year,
and they're on a winning streak.
I hate to say it, but I don't know how much heart those Meadowbridge boys have left.
I don't think it matters in heart. I think they're just slow. I've got Buffalo too. I'm not arguing with your point. I just found it an interesting stat that 273 total points, and you said they scored 73 last week. It just, it goes to show, and I can't, not arguing with you in any way. If they're getting better, that's great. After watching Meadowbridge on film, I told you we were going to annihilate them going into the game. It happened. There's just not a whole lot there. I'm actually surprised they've had the season they've had.
I'll go with Buffalo as well. All right, guys. That's going to do it. Any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
No, I'm just hoping that I'm on the right side of this feast or famine I mentioned, because I picked against the grain a lot.
We're going to come back with Jonathan being like 26-2 next week.
Either that, or I'm going to be way behind. I might hear, oh no.
So I'm going to put him. I'm going to put him on the spot on the air chance, and I'm going to ask Jonathan a question. Would you like to join us on Friday night when they take on Oak Glen? I'm pretty sure I have the power to basically put together a FaceTime call on my iPad, and you could read off the scores for us at halftime when we do the score update. You're going to be in Metro News control.
That would be awesome if I wasn't watching 10 other games that weren't at halftime. We might have to talk about that off air.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I put you on the spot.
We'll
That's
leave
my
suspense
fault.
for the crowd.
And
I don't know yet.
And with that, a creepy Halloween night is upon us. And folks, it's going to be a spooky one. So be sure to tune in to the Clay-Batelle Seabees versus the Oak Glen Golden Bears. Kickoff is next here on WAJR.com.